This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 863 for the week of Monday, April 7th, 2025. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest, translator for One Piece in Weekly, Shonen Jump, and Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Going pretty good today.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. We also have, you may know her from being the Doctor of One Piece. I don't know if that's the official title, but we have Dr. Gomez with us, joining us once again. How's it going, Doctor?
It's going amazing. Thank you for having me here again. I love being in the podcast every single time.
So do we. How have most things been on your side?
Everything has been really interesting recently. I guess I can say that unfortunately my most recent One Piece research project had to be put on standby because right now there's a little bit of a crisis with research funds all over the country. But I am working on other things in the meantime. I am starting as a freelance editor for multiple blogs in Spanish about anime. So that's what's keeping my time right now. And of course, just enjoying One Piece and going to conventions. I'm going to the C2E2 convention in Chicago this Friday and Anime Expo in July or June, I think. Yeah. So in LA. So yeah, just keeping myself happy and busy while
the Anime Expo is usually around July 4th weekend.
Yeah. I remember it was June or July and I'm excited to go. So it'll be very fun.
Yeah. Super exciting. Are you still teaching One Piece? Or is the teaching also? I teach comic books, history, and analysis of pop culture media through like the medium of manga and anime. That's still going. I've been working with a couple webinars coming out for higher education that we can put out so people, like new faculty members, know how to include manga into their classroom, which is like a newer thing. Just little projects here and there. Just trying to keep myself busy. All of my students love One Piece. I think this is a very proud accomplishment of mine, but I got 25 students to get to up-to-date One Piece in a matter of 6 months. I just kept telling them they needed to like watch it, and they've been like obsessing over it. I think their grades were slipping, but we're not going to talk about that. The point is they got to this point. You should give them a little, like at least a half a letter grade up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. The extra credit.
Extra credit. It is extra credit. It's a big assignment.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. I knew you did other stuff besides One Piece. It's just through my brain, it only filtered in the One Piece part of it.
You know what? Some days I feel the same way. There's so many other manga and anime that I like, but One Piece is always like top priority. I keep comparing stuff to One Piece standards, and that's, I think, what's making it hard. Like, I just finished Solo Leveling, watching it on Crunchyroll, and it's been really good, but I was like, it's not One Piece level.
Well, what has hit One Piece level for you recently? That's what I should be asking.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I don't think anything has come closer. There's one show called The Apothecary Diaries that a lot of people are liking it online.
Popular.
Is that the one Josh was just watching and talking about? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
He was watching.
Yeah, and season 2 just came out, and I think the storytelling is very close to the levels that Oda has created. But I don't know. I feel like One Piece just is such a long trajectory, and I love it. I mean, I'm not going to justify how much I love it. I just love it.
No, you don't have to here. Anywhere else we have to. But
here we can just love it.
Yeah, this is a safe space for liking One Piece too much. Speaking of, there's lots of One Piece news that we're going to go through in a moment. We're also going to go through chapter 1145 a little bit later. Before we do, though, please subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. You get alternate images, alternate titles, and a lot more, including the full Forced to Watch 4 Kids, ad-free episodes of our podcast every week if you hate advertisements like I personally do. Don't tell our advertisers that, but I mean, and a lot more. So please check us out there. But this has been a very exciting week. Sam, I believe, will be joining us for the return of our anime recap after 6 months or so. So that's a big deal. There's a new opening and ending theme.
Which I still haven't watched yet.
which Ed still hasn't watched yet. But Ed, I was thinking of you while watching the opening because more so. Well, first of all, the YouTube channel is posting the English subtitles, day and date release with the new opening. I don't know if they always did that with Crunchyroll, but
like lyrics translation.
Yeah, and I thought the lyrics were especially more than I could remember, very apropos to literally the visuals happening on the screen at that time.
I always talked about the lyrics during our when we did opening rankings.
I'm hoping to do one of those again soonish because I want to throw us up all the way toward the top since I love that thing. But Stephen, did you get a chance to watch them? Oh, okay.
Yeah, my wife and I watched the new episodes this morning. The opening, if you haven't seen it, is very clearly kind of foretelling the story of Kuma and Bonnie, because there's a lot of that in the animation, and so therefore, I didn't look too closely at the lyrics. I was more like watching the animation, but I'm sure that there's a lot of resonance there with Bonnie's viewpoint and stuff. So. It's definitely.
Well, theoretically, you would be able to understand what's being sung without needing subtitles.
Yeah, but it's still like J-pop lyrics, which means they're very kind of abstract and use a lot of funny English and stuff like that. So,
of course,
you don't know.
There's some beautiful scenes on it.
There are, yeah.
Is there any
by the way,
random English rapping?
No,
I don't think so. No.
I love random English.
In Jungle P, I think.
Yeah, nothing like that.
It's not for kids.
No, you can't. No one can be. By the way, this is opening 27, apparently. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's also not for kids because now it's on at 11:15 p.m., I believe, is the
on Saturday nights.
Time. Yeah.
They even have the time on the...
It's not Dream 9 anymore. That was many years ago.
That was many years ago. It's called Angel and Devil. It is by, let me see if I'm pronouncing this right, Green Boys. I'm so curious how Ed would spell that, given I just did it.
I feel like that sounds familiar, actually. I feel like
they're very Mr. Children-esque, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, it is very Mr. Yeah, it's a very Mr. Children song.
I'll put it this way: if I had my eyes closed and had no context to this, I would have thought it was Mr. Children. They're so that in that genre. I forgot what Greg called it that one time.
Dad rock.
Yeah.
Dad rock? Well, I am a dad.
Yeah, maybe. And before we started recording, Dr. Gomez was saying that the animation is really beautiful, and I would agree on that part. I think it's very nicely animated.
There's a lot of really pretty scenes. There's one where Bonnie's standing and the eye, I think, well, spoilers, but it might be one of the Gorosei. I think Saturn, his eye is just looming over her, and it's a beautiful shot.
Yeah. Still, it is reminiscent of the way that they animated Us. I don't think it's quite as overwhelming as Us is when you watch it, but it's definitely using a lot of variation and just kind of throwing a lot of visual images and metaphors and things at you in a pretty rapid succession. So if you know the material that's coming, it is very much like setting off all of your synapses at once when you watch it. But it is
preparing us for the river of tears that's going to come out of the backstory.
Yeah, it definitely choked me up a little. I mean, it doesn't take much with that backstory, but there's a lot of very good visuals. I think I thought you were going to mention the Nika pose in Bonnie's eye at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that one too.
Yeah, which was it was very well done. I don't know if Ishitani did work on this. I know she did the recent opening for the new Witch Watch series, which is also a Shonen Jump property, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I did see her name associated with that, although I didn't see it yet.
I think she did storyboard something with the opening for that. It looks very Ishitani-y.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, and Luffy's on the cover of Jump this week. I know it's not the manga recap yet, but I just wanted to ask about
that. What should we say about it?
It's
that he's on there.
He's
I think it's
sort of,
just
sort of leaning on a TV there. I'm not sure what it says on the TV.
Oh well,
though.
it is related. It is related.
yeah.
to the
I mean,
two-
it's anime. It's promoting the return of the anime, of course.
There you go. Yeah, Gear 5 Luffy telling you to watch TV.
Yes,
An old TV, by the way.
that's where the cartoons are.
I was going to say he should be popping out of the TV in some Looney Tunes-esque fashion.
Yeah, Luffy and the old Radiation King, straight out of like 1965 here.
No, I do like that.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It feels almost
dial.
Toriyama-esque, that TV.
The wood paneling.
Yeah, the wood paneling. With the knob. Was there a dial?
Yeah,
I
the
don't have it in
dial.
front of
Yep,
me.
on the
Yeah.
side.
Okay, perfect. I did have one of those growing up, but it was old even at that point. With like the remotes that are hooked up to it, where like you press it. Anyway,
never saw that,
I think my parents had one of those when they were little.
yeah, it was definitely antiquated even by the time we had it, I think. There's also a new ending theme called The One, even though it's the 21st of the endings. Did you, Stephen, what were your thoughts on this one?
Well, I did watch those episodes. I do not remember a single thing about the ending.
Well, I think they didn't play it on the first. I think they posted it after.
That's
so
right,
that
that's
makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, you get it on the second one.
Yeah, the first episode had a cold open, and then they only played the new opening song at the very end of that episode. And then,
Yeah, that was a little confusing to begin with.
yeah. When it started playing, I was like, "Wait, is this the ending? No, this is the opening." And then the next episode was the normal way. But yeah, I just remember it sounded nice. You know, it was like, "Oh, this is pleasant enough." But
Yeah, also, I might be wrong here, but I think this is the first ending that when it first played, it didn't have like on the episode, it have the animation. It came on the second episode that it played out of all the endings of One Piece.
I'm not sure. I mean,
just-
that's something they'll probably go back and fix if because they just played it over black, right? Isn't that
There
what
were like
happened?
credits coming down on the screen, weren't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe they were going for
Yes,
a more
there were
cinematic
credits.
thing. Then.
But when I did watch the ending on the second episode, it was very Bonnie focused.
Yes, it reminded me of the Yamato one from recently, which is a great ending. It felt, I'm like, okay, you guys are doing an opening and an ending. It's both Bonnie focused. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It is a very emotional, impactful, and big backstory when you get to it in the anime. I'm sure it will be even more so. But I feel like, is it almost heavy-handed at that point? It's just like they're not the main character of the show. But it was a perfectly good ending, I thought. It was much more ending-y than I'd say either of the last two that we got, which are the only ones we've had recently.
But the last one was, I think, was supposed to evoke the first ending memories.
yes,
It did.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
But I mean, when I guess what I mean is it felt like there were those like lazier kind of moments, like, you know, like the still frames a lot more in this ending than there were in either of the previous two. I mean, there were still-ish frames in the last one, but not to like the point I'm used to in anime endings, I guess. That's all I have to say about that. Any other thoughts on the ending? Dr. Gomez, did you mention? Or did you get a chance to see it? You mentioned, I know, the weird placement.
Yeah. I mean, the ending was, for me, was one of those like, okay, you know, I think we have had better endings. I think the opening was really good setup for everything that's going to come in this arc. Well, the second part of the arc of Egghead. I wonder if the ending would change eventually, like once we get past the flashback of Kuma and we get like a different character focus on it, like the animation of it, not the song. But yeah, I think it's just an okay one for me. I like the opening more than the ending.
Same. I mean, that's it's almost always the case. Just about. We mentioned the Jump cover. Thank you. There's also,
Believe it or not, yeah, that is not the only anime news that we have.
yeah. Stephen,
good.
do you wanna?
Sure, I'll talk about this thing I have not seen a single second of.
I saw a second.
Okay.
That's all I saw.
The One Piece in Love, Koisuru One Piece spinoff got its own anime, as it were, although that may be a little bit misleading to hear because it is actually four shorts, probably, the first episode. And it is on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So it is a web anime, I guess as they call it.
ONA.
It's vertical, though. Original net
network.
Animation, is that one?
Yeah, I guess net animation. But there's a funny, like, just because I'm looking at it here, this is the only thing I can tell you is that Oda did a funny little news picture doodle thing where he says they're starting a new anime called One Piece in Love, so watch it. It's super crazy, entertaining, and it's super crazy. And then he includes, it is an official spinoff. I'm serious. So just in case you didn't believe him, and then he drew the characters in it.
So if it's official, do we consider it canon?
No, official does not mean canon. Official just means it was sanctioned, I think.
Yes,
right?
sanctioned, yeah.
But what about all the fans who want a love story so hard with Luffy?
Well, that's canon in
is
their
that what they're
hearts.
going to get it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what AO3 is also for. But, like, canon, I think we discussed this years ago. There are different canons, but I agree with Greg, I think, who said, if it's in the manga, that is the canon. Anything else is whatever other, is the canon of whatever thing that it's in. So, like, anime has filler in its canon, or movies, or not part of the manga canon, but the parts of the movies that are referenced in the manga are manga canon, like Shiki. So it's nice and confusing.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the love story picks up. They'll be adding it to the manga later.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to get some weird dimension jumping or something. The last thing I want to mention, I forgot to mention this before, Green Boys, also, I have to say it like that, also came out with like a retrospective video that Steve correctly, I think, described as like a Tokyo Tower retrospective video. It's really cool. I really enjoyed it. It's using, is it Kaiseki, the name of the song? Or, yeah, Kaiseki. And check it out. It's on the official One Piece YouTube. It's manga. What would you call them? Like manga animation. They've done this a lot before.
Oh, like taking panels and animating them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's exactly as Steve had just described. I don't have a better way to say that.
I mean, that was kind of how the animation at the Tokyo Tower worked, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that what I said? What did I say?
Yeah. Oh, I just didn't know if it was,
Yeah. Running the camera over manga art like this is a Ken Burns documentary.
Yeah, a little more dynamic. This one is
a little more
maybe
exciting
a little more
than that.
dynamic.
Yeah.
And a Ken Burns documentaries are exciting, but they're minimalistic. This is not that. I don't mean to besmirch the good name of Ken Burns so early in this episode, at least. Okay, so anything else that you all want to touch on? We had a lot of news, and I think that might be it.
Just one quick note. I think on the Shonen cover, they are announcing 3 more cards for the One Piece card game that come as promos. That excites me. I play the game, so.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned I went to the New Jersey. I think I did mention
That's
this.
right. You told us. I don't think you told the world that you were
What's
there.
the name of the Japanese grocery store again, Ed?
Mitsuya.
Mitsuya, thank you. I went to the one in New Jersey, and they had like a permanent One Piece card game installment, which I thought was nuts. Like just like in the Mitsuya, like
That's really cool.
Well, because they also that's where Kino is.
Yeah, but Kino's in a separate building there. But it's like a complex. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like right in the front, like right when you enter.
Nice.
It's a big One Piece card game installment. It's really cool.
Cool.
So if anyone's in New Jersey for any reason, check that out.
That's interesting because we have a Mitsuwa too. That's where they used to have a bookstore, but it's a large grocery store where they just partition out little spots for like sub vendors to take the space over.
And they got a food court there too.
Yeah. That's exactly how ours is, and they have had like a what they call like a trendy store or something that like sells little mascot things and anime merch and stuff. So I'll have to go and look and see if they've turned that into a One Piece card exhibition like that.
Yeah, because I know all the car shops in the mid area of Illinois, which is where I'm from, they all are playing the One Piece card game, and it's been really fun. People are really liking it. I think they're referring to it as a more fun Magic the Gathering, more accessible Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay. Both of those are not accessible.
Hopefully easier to get than Pokemon cards. Knows that those are crazy.
They are. I have to say, the One Piece card game, we don't talk about it enough because I don't have the expertise to do that. But it is extremely popular, and the fact that they're able to have that kind of stuff is so cool, and really surreal. Anytime I see One Piece in like that kind of ubiquity, it blows my mind, because we all remember what it used to be like in 2009 and 10. And
I mean, if we want to do an episode, I'm all in for it. I've been playing it every Wednesday and also during the weekends. I'm like obsessed with it. It's a really fun card game.
Sam isn't here with us at this moment, but I hear him yelling yes immediately. So you've got a deal there, I'm sure.
I mean, it's just
We'll devote more time to it in the future, because I know it is very popular. I just don't have the expertise to talk about it. So we're going to go through chapter 1145 right after these messages. This is the manga recap for chapter 1145. Wildfire in Forest Sector 2, Branch Route 8. If you want to get to the scene, you can read this chapter as soon as it comes out for free, legally and worldwide at shonenjump.viz.com or mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. Before we get into the cover story, we have a little something special here on the front. Ed.
Yes, this is a color spread, but it's not by Oda. It's by Midori Matsuda, who is a animator who I think has been an episode animation director for the One Piece anime and various other Toei animations.
Yeah, I looked her up because the one thing that the One Piece wiki is very good at is like keeping track of like the principal contributors to anime episodes. So she has like you can click on like the category of episodes that she was involved with. And I believe her first like work as a chief animation director was in like Dressrosa, and then she's taken part in, I don't know, probably 10 to 20 episodes over the years since on One Piece, as well as doing key animation and stuff on some of the movies, some of the films, I should say, in the more recent years.
He's also working on a lot of Pokemon movies.
Yeah, I saw Pokemon Inazuma 11, which again, not qualified to speak personally. Mm-hmm. The Luffy Law anime original episode, I'm trying to remember which one that is, because that could be any episode. And more. But as you said, a lot of Pokemon. Yokai Watch movie, the Yokai Watch movie. I think what a cool honor also to be able to do this for the return of the anime.
Yeah, if you want to talk about what's in the cover here, cover page.
The burger that Sanchi's holding, because that's what I want to talk about.
Well, it's the Straw Hats setting a bad example for the children, staying up to 11:15 p.m. to watch the anime.
It's not just bad. It's
in
not
the video
just a bad
store.
example in the video store. It's not just a bad example for the children. It's also a bad example for the parents who want to go to sleep before 11:15.
They also have the big Radiation King TV with the what looks like wood paneling and knobs on the front.
I love all these TVs. This is like that episode of Cowboy Bebop. I'm trying to remember. Do you know which one I'm talking about, though? With all the old TVs.
Is that the one where they go down to Earth and look for a VCR?
Yeah, in the subterranean Earth, they look for Beta and VCR. Yeah, I love that episode. But yeah, this is fun.
I think this is actually teaching the children how to have a good time with their friends. So I'm going to be on the positive side of it. Kids
At
stay as late as you
11:15
want.
at night.
Yes. I'd rather them do that than be out there making trouble.
But they're also drinking
yeah.
what has to be alcohol.
Oh, that's definitely apple juice. Come on.
It looks like tea. It's steaming.
You can't prove anything.
I'll
You know
try.
what? It's tangerine juice from Nami's tree.
Does Jinbei have a tiki drink? Is that what's happening there? Or wait, is he eating something? I can't tell what he's holding.
He's eating pizza.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
eating
that's
some-
pizza.
Oh, yeah, it's pizza.
Oh, I forgot to mention the new opening also has goopy pizza in it.
We have
a
to
shout out.
Yeah,
Oda pizza.
Oda pizza.
Who doesn't
as we
love
call
pizza?
it. No, pizza's great. Goopy pizza is not a thing that should exist. Yeah, but this is a really cute. I love Luffy saying, "That's me on the television."
Yeah, that is funny.
And it's a very cute color. If you want to call it color spread, but at the very least, bonus.
I also love how Zoro is like so uninterested. He's just looking the other way.
Yeah.
Well, he's drunk on apple
He's
juice.
supporting Luffy so that he can sit back and be comfortable.
Yeah, I think Zoro's drinking water. You can see the clear liquid coming down from his
Yeah, I always drink my water like that.
Stay hydrated. More good messages for children. There we go.
Hey, everybody, I'm just drinking some
Yeah.
water here.
There are no clear alcohols. It's definitely water.
It's diet water.
You know what? It could be cola. Frankie could be sharing cola with everyone.
From his chest cavity?
No, from a fridge.
Well, Frankie's eating a burger, as you do.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. And
I want to
Sanji's
see him
holding
use
a
the
burger.
tiny hands to hold a burger, though.
No, that's a big burger.
Yeah. Why is he squishing it with his big gorilla fingers?
Because
You
it's
can
a
use the
big gorilla burger.
Yeah, I mean, look how big the one Sanji has. It's very big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frankie looks much smaller probably than he actually is in this color spread, I'm realizing. Okay, cool.
And Brooke
This
is
is
up past his bedtime, too. He's old.
Yeah, but he's also dead.
Yeah.
Yo.
There it is.
This is another side tangent, but I was just reminded of this because of this being illustrated by one of the chief animators, which is that I was very surprised to see my wife was playing the new Ranma 1/2 anime recently, which I believe that the core is finished now, so I don't think it is currently running. But I was my eye was caught by a familiar name, which was Konosuke Uda, which if you
It
don't
was the original
recognize that,
chief animation director of the One Piece anime from like the beginning.
yes, he was. Yeah, Oda called him out in an SBS, very early SBS, where he was talking about how the Konosuke Uda was like the superstar who made sure the anime felt like One Piece and so on and so forth. So I was like, oh wow, he's still active. So yes, there's a lot of One Piece animators getting good work now.
I'm trying to
He was
also...
like the series supervisor. He was kind of like the showrunner, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
I'm
Yeah.
sure this has been mentioned what the still specifically, what episode, or if it's from the new opening or what specifically of Luffy.
On the TVs.
But I
I
am
think-
positive the internet has figured this out. Yeah, sorry,
I
you were
would
gonna
put
say.
my guess that this is from the fight with Lucci.
Chances are high because it does look like it's over the city in Egghead. Yeah, I mean, that could have been in an opening or something. I don't know specifically, or if it's just a random still from an older episode. Okay, I think we're good talking about the anime for a little bit. Let's go into the cover story. Steven, did you want to do that?
Sure. Yes, as Zach mentioned before, this is chapter 1145, Wildfire in Forest Sector 2, Branch Route 8, which is, it's odd because I don't think they actually mentioned Forest Sector 2 at any point in the chapter. So I don't know if that was like, if Oda was like, playing off of some kind of phrase in Japanese or, some like way that they talk about.
It sounds like the conclusion of one of the fights in Alabasta, like winner of the battle in the East Block.
So such and such street in Alabarna and stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously we're gonna hear about that wildfire. But instead, first we have Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 30, already at 30. Pei still alive. And you could tell how much everyone else cares about this by the way that Yamato is conspicuously facing away from Ulti and page 1.
And Yamato's got the sword that was stolen by page 1 with the circles on it. Yeah.
So I think this is literally the flip side of the previous cover page.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Yeah, because
that makes sense.
He's looking at he's probably looking at, I forgot, all the people who were just knocked out, and in the back, this might be what's going on. I assumed that's what was going on here. Mm-hmm. It also explains, because he was also holding the sword in that one.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
He's
got his club tucked into his knot thing back there.
Yeah, it's a weird perspective, because it's like going to the right, but also to the left, and I guess it's
I'm gonna look at the other one just to make sure if I make sense.
I'm happy to see more Yamato action. I want him to come back to like the main story.
Yeah, I think it is, because in the front, in 1144 it started with Minatomo crying in the front with Tama and those three the three women who were very happy to see giant Yamato. So this might be right after that, because
right
you don't
after,
see those.
you don't see the girls.
But holding everything in the same but inverse way from the other angle, so that makes sense.
This is just a very random question, but does anyone remember what the number episode of the anime was that they just aired?
1129. They're very close still.
All right, so it's not. I was like, what is this 18 on the number on the side here? I don't know what that is.
It's 1124.
That was close. Oh.
So it's not. Yeah, so he's not doing an anime reference there. But there's something...
Oh, no, but there was a big dartboard in the background, remember? Or something
it's the dartbourt. Okay, it's just the points on the dartboard. Okay.
Yeah, nothing's
it looked like a Battle Frankie number or something. It was very conspicuous over there. But okay.
I mean, it might be. One thing doesn't negate the other. Steven, I'll let you keep going.
All right. We get some action here on the first page of the chapter, as we see a large kind of shaggy-maned dinosaur lift its head a la Jurassic Park, play the recorder song, brr, 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 and it's going, grrr. And in the foreground, we have Goldberg with his big club, and he's holding up his shield, which we have noticed before seemed to have a rather homey-like expressive face. And this time he actually talks to it and says, "Here it comes, Nash." And the shield goes, "Huh? Wait. So now we definitely know that this is a homie, as he seems to grow in size, which is rather strange. I don't think we've seen homies do that before.
Yes, he grows with a wing.
Yeah, he's stretching out of the panel, the borders of the panel, and the dinosaur lunges down and attempts to take a bite of Goldberg. And instead, he
sinks his teeth in.
He just kind of breaks his teeth on Nash, who has a very funny face, as anyone does when they get hit directly in the face with something. And Goldberg,
I don't think I would look that good even.
Yeah, and then a voice says, this is Goldberg says now, and then Sanji and Zoro jump into motion. We get a return to the classic combo attacks, the Armée de l'Air assault, and this is the attack that we previously saw in the Davy backfight,
where Sanji flings Zoro with his leg.
Yes, up at
and same here.
At Big Pond, right? Big Bun.
Yeah.
Big Pond.
The giant mudfish.
Mm-hmm. And previously, so it's funny because they are different attacks, and this is just kind of a weird oddity of, I guess, the way that the previous translators handled this. But the first time we saw the Armée de l'Air was on Drum Island when Sanji throws Luffy. And in that one, it was translated as Armée de l'air, air assault. And then when they got to Davy Backfight, it was it was like power shoot or shoot. And then the other one was power shoot. And then that was the Sanji and Zoro one. So at any rate, Sanji hurls Zoro up in the air, goggles and all. And Zoro does a cool a cool samurai follow through pose, whew, and just slices off the dinosaur's neck in a very cool action panel.
Doctor?
Yeah. So coming from the Zoro versus Fake Queen panel, because I feel like that's what it would look like if Zoro were to fight Queen. We now get into the dinosaurs in the ground, and then I believe it's either Sanji or Zoro saying, "This looks like good eating." I mean, it's huge even compared to giants. And then we see a comparison with the giant standing next to it. Grogi-saurus-ish, consider a delicacy, as they're doing the little accent. It takes a while to carve all the fat, but it's great when stewed in alcohol.
So does Goldberg have like a list for something?
He does, yeah. Like in Japanese, basically, whenever he says desu, he says deshu, or like anything that ends with a su sound is a shu. So that's kind of how I represented
That's
it.
not quite a list because the list was TH, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to get really technical about it, I'm sure there are certain definitions that this does not fall under. I will point out that I thought like that's a really weird name to call it a Groggy-saurus, and I was like, that's also really weird coming just after I was looking up the attack name from the Groggy Ring. But it turns out this is actually one of the animals from Strong World, the Groggy-saurus, which I did not know. Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed. I just looked it up, but yeah, the Groggy-saurus is. Yeah, we've had almost exclusively the Strong World animals in Elbaf, which is interesting, fun, cool. I'm glad Oda is using those really great designs that he put together a decade and a half ago. So it's good to see.
There was an art book of character designs from Strong World that I think I have over here on my shelf. It's still available at
I see it.
Very cool.
I think I've seen them at like Kino and stuff.
It's in with my color walks.
Yeah, go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, so then we have a panel with Sanji. He says, "Yeah, but you didn't bring any of that with us, right?" And then responding to that, "There is a whole shed of cooking tools in the hunting shed. Let's look for some aromatic herbs on the way back." And then Sora says, "Hey, what's the deal with that guy? Is it a devil fruit?" Asking about the shield. And just like we were inquiring before about looking like a homie, this actually confirms it. As it is said, that shield came to life like that way back years ago when my dad went on the expedition to vanquish Big Mom. They're like, "Big Mom? Oh, so he's like Zeus then." So they're comparing the shield to Zeus, so we can see then that it is an actual homie. And then the Giant's saying, "What you guys know?" I think
this is
shield.
Nash.
Yeah, Nash is saying, "What you guys know, Mr. Zeus? He's like one of the most exalted homies. And now he's a manservant to our navigator." So I think it's pretty cool that we see another homie kind of connection.
I like the mythology amongst homies being completely and utterly.
Yeah, there's a hierarchy.
Of course,
Zeus and Prometheus being the highest.
Yeah, we knew Zeus, Prometheus, and
Napoleon.
Were the,
and now Hera,
and now Hera. We're at the top of the food chain, but it is funny how it's immediately been.
Yeah. I was very taken with the phrase "most exalted homies" or "most exalted homie." Like goated is mid now. Like we have a new term. It's meh, MEH, most exalted homie.
Instead of goat, it's the meh.
Yeah.
Then we change now to the underworld where Loki is like laying down. But first, the first panel is like, "Holy Knights." That's right. They showed up here.
Holy Knights. Sorry. That's just how I heard that just now.
So then we see like, Guardi's helping Loki. Then Harryden is like looking at him. Loki's still looking bigger than everyone else, and the hammer in the back. But then we start with the dialogue. Humans from the world government? You're saying that's who beat you this badly? That is what I'm saying. You must have given them reason to seek revenge when you were rampaging beyond the sea. Don't be stupid. And then we go to Luffy. If I had gotten far enough to run into them when I was out there, I'd be king of the world by now. I think that's
This is
Loki
Loki.
saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Luffy responds to that. Knights from the world government? And then we hear from another bubble, hey, you guys. And Luffy's just like kind of surprised about hearing about it.
I think we made the joke last week that it looked like he was trying to keep his legs elevated. But it's his whole body, so it's not on the cold snow, which makes sense.
And we hear a, hey, you guys, like this is the Goonies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It basically is.
Yeah. And
Steve.
the head Goonie, Goldberg here, returns. That's a different kids movie.
Goldberg's the goalie.
Yeah, goalie from Mighty Ducks. Look what we caught! And he's just holding the body of the dinosaur over his head, and Luffy's like, "Whoa, that's huge! It's a groggy shorish, tasty and nutritious." And Zoro is giving them a thumbs up and is just letting them know, I delivered the killing blow. And Sanji, this is such a funny, he's like, oh, you should have been there. I've never seen such a graceful soaring broccoli. And then in the next panel, they're like, they're bickering.
Rude.
It's really probably one of Sanji's best, jabs.
It was fun to make that work, to try to like, okay, how do I need to write this in such a way that like you're reading it and you're like, this is weird. Why is Sanji like being so complimentary to Oh, he called him a broccoli. Like once you get to the end of the sentence, then the joke hits, and so that's fun stuff. And Goldberg says to Stanson in the background, did you collect enough fallen trees? And Stanson says, yep, got a nice pile going. Thanks for the hunt. And so now they are cooking up the dead Groggysaurus, and
They're making a big bonfire on Loki's chest.
not quite, although it probably feels that way. So they get it all nice and cooked. We get some time has passed, and Luffy is like, yummy. And they're like, it's not just for you. And he's like, oh, right. They're supposed to be feeding Loki. And Luffy very helpfully has, I'm like, where did he get this stick? It's a very, very long, thin stick that is somehow supporting an absolutely monstrous hunk of
bamboo
cooked meat. Yeah, it looks like
bamboo is
yeah.
very strong.
It's about to tip over Fred Flintstone's car.
That was
pretty
a
much.
rib, right? No, go ahead.
Yeah, those were ribs.
Yeah, the Bronto ribs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just.
And yeah, so Luffy is trying to like hold it up for Loki to take a bite, because of course he's like splayed like open eagle on the ground. And he's like, eat up, Loki, and he just like flops the sizzling seared meat directly on Loki's face, and just cooking his skin. He's like, yeah, you're burning me. And Gerd is like, be careful of his wounds, Luffy. And then they've moved the meat, and Loki is like, are you trying to kill me? And just screaming at Luffy.
It's a good thing he's got bandages on his face.
Yeah, that probably helps a little. And Luffy's like, hey, you sound good to me already. You sound pretty lively.
This is the same technique Zoro had to see if he was alive like 2 chapters ago.
Yeah, pretty
when
much.
He kicked him in the chest. I just want to mention I really like the sound effect lettering, I guess, above the
yeah,
it is burning his face, I guess.
Yeah, that little like sizzly looking border to it.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
And Luffy is giving Loki tips like, okay, you need to eat if you want to recover. And so Loki is chomping away, but he is still lying on his back, which, as you can imagine, is very difficult to eat and to swallow. So he says, yeah, it's hard to swallow lying on my back. You can't sit me up first. And he's coughing and hacking. And he's like, oh, geez, he's so fussy. And so
Luffy's like, I could eat in any position, anytime, you name it. You put food in my mouth, I'm there.
Asleep or awake, we know this.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. He's like those NASA pens. They can work even in no gravity.
Upside down.
No, NASA used a pencil. Or the Soviets used a pencil.
Yeah, I thought NASA didn't do that because the graphite would catch fire or something.
Wow.
Anyways, that is neither here nor there. Loki is sitting up now, and he's still coughing, and Luffy's like, "Oh, you got something stuck in your throat? Hang on a sec, I got something for that." And he's like, "I'm gonna bring soup." And so he runs off, and then he's coming back with a giant mug that is like literally burning. You can see it's burning his hands and bubbling, and he's going out, ooh, hot, as he runs back with this very unsteady cup. And Loki is just like, no, I can see it bubbling from here. Stay away from me. As Luffy approaches with the impending disaster.
This page is probably one of the funniest pages of One Piece in a while. I just want to point out, from the broccoli to it's fantastic.
I don't know why I had the idea that they had built the bonfire to cook the meat on Loki's chest.
It's probably it's because of all the other, slapstick hijinks going on here.
Yeah.
They are absolutely torturing Loki accidentally.
He's getting slapped in the face with meat.
Like, you said it. They're like...
again, AO3.
Yeah, it just reminds me of this. If anyone's ever seen The Producers, where...
The musical?
No, the movie where Zero Mostel's about to like jump on top of Gene Wilder, and he's like, don't jump on me. Loki's about to be wet and hysterical.
Yeah, to be fair, I could totally see them building a bonfire on him just because they don't like him very much. As we find on the next page, as he splashes the boiling hot water, right? It was water.
The soup.
Soup, sorry. It's in a mug, which confused me slightly. Okay, so splashes all over him. Not fun. So this might be look.
Oops.
Splash.
I love the addition of that font for Luffy just innocently oops scalding him. And we see Loki recovering. Gerd notes that he has more burns than before.
Gee, I wonder why.
And Loki's like, get him away from me. And Luffy, I love this look. This is an excellent look of, sorry, I messed up. I didn't mean to. And Gerd, meanwhile, thrilled that they're doing this to Loki, I guess. That's what I'm supposed to get from that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just making sure. Sanji...
Smirking the thumbs up, yeah.
Sanji does not get hard eyes for this this opinion. But I believe the Bing... Yeah, I believe the heart from the Bing is from Gerd, who's just very happy to see Loki hurt. Mm-hmm. Sanji, meanwhile, has his soup, or his portion of the soup, and it's like, why are you guys... What did this guy do to you to make all the giants hate him so much? I mean, he's not like this asshole next to me. Zoro is referring to. I assume is his inner monologue there. And Zoro says, I'm guessing he was lying when he made that promise to Luffy. And we finally find out what the promise is as Loki tries to get up, or I guess he is sitting up with logs supporting him here. Also, I love Goldberg's little grill going on. This little barbecue going on here on the left on this panel. Roto deserves none of this meat. As Loki says, where to find red hair now? I wasn't lying about that. And Zoro, I believe, saying, we'll be the judge of that. Go on, tell us. Loki's like, why should I have to tell you when you haven't upheld your end of the bargain and unlocked my last chain? You really want to meet red hair that badly? Well, I suppose I understand how it feels to idolize a pirate you met when you were just a lad. And with this, you have Hyruden staring blankly at Loki here. And we have Luffy now munching as politely as possible, still sitting atop a very injured Loki here, saying, you make it sound
He's got the big overbite like he's Iyami or something from Osamatsu-kun.
Yeah, and sorry, you have Luffy chewing his hunk of meat, saying, you make it well, I should do this properly. You make it sound like you feel the same way. And Loki responds, yes, I did, and it pains me that I was only a boy at the time. And in the background you have Loki walk in and saying, take me with you, as we find out the silhouette. We only have so many fully silhouetted characters in the series, and so this one's probably Rox, I think it's fair to say. I think we all immediately thought that. Yeah.
That was my first impression, too.
I think was also my second and third impression. Anyway.
With the hair, kind of looks like previous silhouettes of Rox.
Yeah, he was in that one opening for some reason. He says, I didn't... How does Rox sound? I didn't come here to meet a whelp like you. Stop making me repeat myself.
What says that is the official voice?
These are the voices I'm doing for Noah for reading time, so that's what you get. Steven?
Okay, and so then Loki challenges our mysterious figure and says, fight me then! And he turns with his eye, with one eye visible here, and says, what? And then we see a smash cut to Loki beaten and bloodied on the ground. And we see a somewhat familiar mustache silhouette there, as another figure says, you don't have to use a blade on a kid. And the
Shut
fighter,
up, Newgate.
The fighter says, shut up, Newgate. So there's your hint number 2 that this is Rox, since he was on a crew with Whitebeard.
Hint is such a strong... it's such a weak word for what this is. Very, very telegraphed.
Who else could it be?
Yeah. But
Big
he's
Mom.
notably about half the size of Whitebeard, so that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure. Based on the...
Whitebeard big.
Yeah, Whitebeard is very big, and based on the perspective in that first panel of this little mini flashback, he looks like he's probably about the same size as the other people, other humans.
Whitebeard's not the size of a giant. He's like 40 feet tall or something like that.
I don't think he's that tall. I thought the
Whitebeard?
40 feet was like the giant size, or like a small giant. But
well, he might be as tall as a small giant. That's not so ridiculous.
No, he's not that tall.
Okay, I'll look it
he's
up.
he's like 12 or 13 feet tall, if I had to guess.
No. 12 or 13 feet's like a normal guy in One Piece. Right?
To be fair,
Edward Newgate.
I kind of thought that this...
Oh, here comes Kirsten.
Oh, here
by the
I
way.
am.
I should have introduced. Kirsten's joining us.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. My read on this panel was that Rox just kicked Loki's ass and immediately stormed out, and Whitebeard
So
stayed
he's like
behind to
ahead
be
of
like,
Whitebeard.
hey.
Yeah.
That could be true.
By the way, so what was your guess, Stephen? You said 12 feet. Ed, what did you say?
I thought 40 feet, maybe.
Okay.
I'm saying 20.
Can I say 15?
Yeah, Dr. Gomez, there's a reason you have the PhD. 21 feet, 10 inches. So there you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
How tall are giants, Zach?
Give me a giant and I'll look it up. Should I look up
tall is,
Dorian
Saul.
Broggie.
Saul?
Yeah.
Saul is a smaller one. Dorian Broggie, I think, are larger giants, right?
Yes.
Saul is 64 feet, so
Yeah.
still, yeah.
Like three
not really that
Whitebeards.
close. Yeah.
Notably larger.
If you stack 3 Whitebeards on top of each other, that's really the measurements we should be using for things.
Three
I'm going to start
Whitebeards
measuring
in a
everything on
trench coat?
Whitebeards.
Yeah, 3 Whitebeards in a trench coat.
Yeah.
There it is.
3 Whitebeards in a trench coat would not be anywhere near as tall as Loki is. However, he is the biggest boy of them all. And as he eats, he is saying, "I was born in the wrong era," which I feel like this is a very Chunibyo,
Loki listens to classic rock.
Yeah, exactly. His music was better before I was born. So meanwhile, we switch to a larger set of panels over on the left side of the page as Dory and Pierogi are in the midst of a melee with all of the sleep dids. And they're like, the Draugrs are like soldiers. So many ghosts, too. Just the thing kids would be afraid of. And then we get the great Eric on its little cloud oars. And they're like running over one of the Draugrs, just like completely flattening it. And we see the weird bird thing, and the Loki, the dream Loki is trying to smash the ship with his hammer. And we see, of course, the bear with the helmet, ready to fight, which is very adorable.
Is his name Da Bear?
Da Bear.
Yeah, we have at least 3 Illinois-based people on this episode.
Da
Too.
Bear.
Da Bear.
Yeah, so, there it is,
Oh,
see?
yeah, sports.
Yes.
To be fair, I think that's also an SNL skit, right?
That's really what
That
it
is-
is
that
referring
is
to
it.
the
Yeah.
SNL skit.
It's the super fans.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, although this
It's
is
the-
Norse, so it could be more like Durgan Bergen or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Jurgen Bergen is its official title. But Dr.
the Latin
Gomez,
name.
maybe this is your fear realized. Sports, it's Da Bear.
You know what? When I was in college, I was a cheerleader and I was a dancer for Illinois State, and I never learned anything about football. So I called the Bears the big Cubs because I feel like they're just like adult ones, like, from the baseball to the football, but that's all I know.
It's more of a basketball school anyway.
Yeah.
Illinois, yeah.
Yeah. Those are-
And we do, and yes, and we have the Minnesota Viking Loki on the left with his horn
Great.
helmet.
Can we do one episode where we don't make sports references?
well, were there like a new collaboration with the Lakers or with
Yeah,
different
The
Lakers,
Lakers,
the
yeah.
Seattle Mariners, the
Yeah.
Red Sox.
The Red Sox, yeah.
So when
Yeah,
is the
there's
one
been
with
a
the
lot.
big Cubs coming?
Oh my god, if they did
Yeah.
that, I would lose my mind.
I would so get into sports for that one.
Get into sports.
Yeah, I would
I
learn
would
their
go to a
rules with
game
the
and collect the
points.
merch.
Yes, exactly.
You can't
Yeah,
make me
that's-
care
that's a-
about sports unless it's the Cubs, and then I care.
I mean, I like the performance that the players put together in their costumes. I think that's actually very cool to look at, but that's all I know.
This is not really related, but Steven, that clip that you sent me from was that the Yankees?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
We
in the
forgot to
news.
talk about that.
The Yankees announcer talking about Monkey D. Luffy, and
It was the
Yeah.
greatest.
Yeah.
It was the greatest 2-minute clip I've ever seen,
yeah,
and it was someone so poorly informed.
he was reading
being
that
a
one
dick
sheet like a
about it.
champ.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna read the start of this Wikipedia page. I'm gonna get through it. I don't give a shit.
Pronouncing Luffy like the old Viz Shonen Jump ad that they used to have on the DVDs.
Yeah, I'm sure he was referencing this.
Yeah. Anyways, back
yeah.
to the combat scene here, which is, as previously mentioned, very cool. And the Loki, the Dream Loki, attacking the ship is met by none other than Gaban, who leaps off the side with his axes twirling, and he says, "I'll handle him." And they're like, "Mr. Ya!" And then we get a cool just snapshot of him with a triumphant grin on his face, which is kind of funny. And then he slices through the magical phantom Loki, and we see right
I
through
just got what that it was. I did not understand what we were looking at.
Oh,
the
we were looking at.
perspective.
Yeah, for some
Yeah.
reason it's very dark. I don't know why. I guess it's because he's wearing furs
It's
on
blood.
his back.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it could just be we're
something.
seeing the center of it, and it's like the
Yeah.
JoJo censoring. Like it's just black.
Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ed.
All right. And he says, "Good thing these are based on a child's imagination. Would they be stronger if the kids knew the real thing? I'd rather not find out." Yeah. And here, there are more of them now. 3. A trio of abnormal voices. They can try to hide, but I can still feel them. Is that Gaban saying that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's referring to Summers and Gunko and Killingham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So back at the firefighting team, we hear, "Open the sea cloud hoses," and they do, and water starts to flow out onto the fire at a very forceful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Saul who says, "Firefighters, I'm so glad y'all made it. Could you pick it up a little?" One of the firefighters says, "The valves are all the way open. It's the strongest stream we've got." And then the children are still walking. We hear the firefighter who says, "Put out the fire.
That's
you can
Saul.
do it." That's Saul, yeah.
Yeah, Saul, yeah.
"You can do it. Get them flames out. I'm begging you." And I guess this is maybe this is Summers speaking. He says,
Yeah.
"Look at that, Gunko. The kids are about to burn to death. What happens? Will they wake up?"
The perspective, I guess it should have been obvious, but I still felt like, whoa, that's a really big wolf when you see Saul, like little tiny Saul, standing on top of the Fenrir.
What a cute little
big
pup.
boy.
I like that he has a little bump on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is there was Anyway, we go to the next page as this asshole says. Gunko says they'll wake up from the heat, wail and cry for their parents, and be consumed by flames and burned into bones. I assume. And you see the kids continue.
Oh, that would be convenient for me, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And the kids.
Aren't you supposed to be taking them as hostages?
That is an open
So
question,
the last chapter they said, "Oh, we'll get others if they like something like
True.
that." But
Yeah.
you're right, Ed. It's not an efficient way to get hostages, at the very least. How
You don't
about that?
preemptively kill the hostages.
Yeah.
So Summer's definitely the one responding here. How about that? Now that's emotion. And someone from underneath the sea cloud says, "Sea cloud," as he in a familiar way, like bed sheets around him, snuggles deep into the sea cloud.
It's the little bear from the Downy commercials.
Yes.
Trying to get cozy.
The little bear with teepee on his ass.
We don't have to draw that.
Wow, I was painting such a nice, adorable picture, Ed.
A Jinbei teddy bear, and then you just throw some TP on him. It would be stuck on his foot, if anything. Anyway, and Dory and Brokey are like, "Hey, what's wrong, firefighters? It's not going out." And sorry, all I thought about was my son through this whole chapter because it's firefighters, and that's literally the only thing he knows how to talk about. And when he hears this in 10 years, that's all you talked about in the year 2025 and 4 and 3. And we see, we're at max output. There's nothing we could do. And Saul runs, "Stop. Won't somebody stop the children?" And Summers is doing his super evil laugh. I do really like that panel in particular, bringing home how much of a dick he is. And whose leg in particular is this supposed to be? Saul?
That's the kids.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's
those are the
stepping into
kids?
the fire.
Yeah, they're walking.
Into the fire.
They're about to be burned.
And we see a shoulder throw. And it's the beautiful Jinbei with his comfy towels trying to smother the fire out. But no, they're actually sea clouds. And he says, "That should do it." Was that in time? And did I time that well? Are they dead? And we see Colin Ship saying, Colin from Colin Ship, I assume, saying, "Over here, hop on." And so Jinbei does a hop. And goes back onto the ship as everyone's like, "Yeah, way to go, Jinbei." And Brooke takes his guitar out. "I got the chills, even though I don't have..." Wait, no. I don't know if that
He
was...
starts playing the guitar like, "Widdly, widdly, widdly, wow."
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Kirsten can
As
do
a
it.
professional guitarist, I can say that's exactly what guitar sounds like.
Yeah.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Take
Connor
my
looking
non-existent
behind
job.
him. Oh, perfect. I need some non-existent jobs. I don't. I already have this one. So anyway, Connor on his far
Colin.
Forget that. Colin. I know that's what Stephen wanted us to call him. They back away as the explosion of water hits the fire, steam presumably coming out of the kabloosh, I guess.
This is a very strange sequencing of panels because it's like Jinbei does the action move. He throws the big stream of clouds, and then there's the little sequence of like reaction panels from him and the Straw Hats like all celebrating. But then you see like, wait, no, he didn't even actually land it yet. It's not until like he gets on the ship and then they do the walking away from the explosion.
They need to flip the top and the bottom
thing.
Of the
I
page
think
17.
that would have made it a lot better, I think.
Yeah, that should do it after it hits.
Yeah.
It's like when you walk away and you think you've done the thing that you're supposed to. There we go, all done, all finished.
Yeah, he threw up the ball at half court and then he turned around and he does the like
There's the gif of I think he's a Lakers player. I think it's Nick Young who shoots the 3-pointer and like does a thing. The dude does like a little dance and it bounces. It like rims out.
Yeah,
in
the
sports.
Yeah,
on my podcast.
Yay, more sports.
You're welcome.
Kirsten, why don't you round us off here?
Well, more reactions. We get some giants going "Ah!" with their eyes and tongues sticking out. Saul's crying. Robin and Chopper are looking like fangirls up at Jinbei's incredible work. And Shonen Jump just locked me out of the chapter.
Oh no.
Well,
it's too good.
If you had more non-existent jobs, I'm sure they're free, so that doesn't explain it either.
What just happened to my app? It's never done this before.
Well, it knew
you're reading too much. You gotta.
It knew.
You gotta.
Because I've been catching up on Shoha Shoten.
Oh, that's good.
Hey,
yeah,
there's a plug.
Another plug. Great work, Steven.
Should we talk about Akana Banashi while we wait for Kirsten?
Okay, I got it.
Oh, damn it.
We can though.
No, hey, go ahead.
Such disappointment. Probably one of the firefighters saying, the wildfire in Forest Sector 2, Branch 8, has been put out! And,
victory.
Yeah, indeed it has. We see kind of the smoke evaporating as everything looks hunky-dory. The kids are walking above the kind of like water vapor as people say, the kids are all safe! The children weren't harmed by the flames, but they're still marching onward! And Dory and Brogy and them saying, that was a close one! We believed in you! Well done, firefighters! And then the firefighters saying, it wasn't us. As they're calling the guardian deities of Elbaf. But at least there's...
Elbaf's bravest. Right, Zach?
Yes.
Elbaf's mess?
Can I take a break from firefighters for one night? That's all I'm asking for.
No.
All firefighters, all sports.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's what we're going to name this one. All firefighters, all sports. This one's made for 5-year-old boys exclusively. All firefighters, all sports. Kirsten, go ahead.
At least they're all safe. No kidding. And then Chopper saying, did you see that, Robin? And Robin saying, Jinbei must be nearby. And he sure was. I didn't name my cat after Jinbei for nothing. And indeed, we go back to Colin's spar with Colin saying, that was so cool, Jinbei, so cool! Someone else saying, thank you, Jinbei. And Jinbei just being, it's nothing.
Just remember, Colin is 20.
20? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Through all of this. For the rest of the series. Just remember that.
Colin then saying, the kids at school all hate me, but I still think of them as my friends. Just, what a guy. Nami saying, that's so sweet, Colin. We're gonna save them together. And Colin with a tear in his eye saying, yeah! But not so fast.
Then they'll have to be. Then they'll have to be my friends.
Thank you, Ed, because I was thinking around the same thing. I'm like, is that really a sweet thing to say? I mean, that seems more of like a codependency thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but go for it.
Maybe if he saves them, then they'll realize that fighting and being heroes is cool. And he was
I think
right all
that's
along.
probably what he's thinking. Yeah.
But oh no, somebody's on the ship, and it's Gunko, and she says, "So I suppose the school isn't the only place." And Colin goes, and everyone on the Straw Hat's like, "Ah!" And Gunko finishes, "To find a perky child."
Like, girl, put on some pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been saying this since the beginning.
Yeah.
But
The combination of talking about finding perky children and being in a state of undress is very disconcerting.
it is, but with Brooke there, we finally get to see how much of a what's his stage name again?
Soul King fan.
Fan, yeah, that she really is. So that I really do look forward to.
I assumed you were going to
The panties.
Yes,
joke,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But our theory last time was that's the reason she doesn't wear pants. Is because she's such a fan. I don't know if it's so he could see, but it's
She got the inside dirt. She reads the dirt sheets.
Yeah. Well, no, it's in one of the songs someone pointed out. I forget which one that he makes that joke. Yeah, pretty funny stuff if true. But we'll get more to that in a second. Ed, can I start with you? What do you think of the chapter?
Well, it's good that the children are safe, and seeing everyone's reaction to Jinbei is very Jinbei is cool, and everyone recognizes this. You love to see that. I don't know what to think about Loki, but overall, good chapter, I thought. But I mean, Loki taking abuse is funny, but not really sure what he's going to be doing going forward. I don't have much else to say.
Well, he's going to be the place where you make your bonfires, obviously.
Yeah.
Steven.
Yeah, interesting chapter. Pretty jam packed. There's a lot of stuff that happens here. We get a little bit of everything. Some cool action stuff. Sanji and Zoro teaming up and then fighting about it is always fun. It was maybe a little lower effort than usual for them in terms of how Oda depicted it, but it was still cool to see. And getting little answers for things like is that shield really a homie? And then finding out that it was, which is really cool because it just strengthens the narrative.
I guess and there was an expedition to go after Big Mom that Goldberg's father was a part of, presumably after she killed Yorl.
Yeah, it could have been that, or I mean, I guess it's more likely that than anything to do with Loki and Pudding.
Interestingly,
right?
though,
because it would have been years ago.
I'm just thinking, though, we saw Rox was there with Whitebeard. That also means Big Mom must have been, because Big Mom was part of the Rox Pirates at least at some point. So maybe there is some relation to that event and the Rox Pirates specifically.
Or maybe she wasn't there because she was like, I got trouble with the Giants or something.
I don't think Big Mom would be one to. I don't think she has that kind of introspection. I don't think she would have figured that out. I also just was going to say, I feel like we're setting up now with that, maybe for a Rox flashback because of that specific fact that Dad Goldberg, when you start mentioning the parents of the people that are in the present time, I feel like that's a very
yes, Mr. Goldberg.
Yes, yeah, my father. Please call him Mr. Goldberg. He was a lawyer, giant lawyer, but is still a lawyer. Go ahead, Steven.
And obviously, anytime you have someone drawing comparisons to Luffy in some way, especially something as kind of elemental to Luffy's personality as his childhood fascination and admiration of Shanks. You know, that's going to be a sign that's his his face turn thing that's in the works, where we're going to find out that Loki's admiration of
he's
rocks,
just like me for real.
Yeah, totally. But that will be an interesting kind of contrast to Luffy's. And so that,
I mean, I wonder what the perspective of people of rocks was in his own time.
Yeah, I don't know, and like it definitely reminded me of like, okay, Oda, you have to be careful, otherwise we're going to be setting up for another 15 chapter flashback to explain what a badass Rocks was, the same way that we had to do that for Odin when he was really puffed up in the present day story, and it really required quite a hefty commitment to fully depict that in the past. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. Yeah.
I think I could guarantee at this point.
But yeah, not too surprising with the saving of the children, but at least it puts us in a position where because Summers and Gunko are watching the children, and of course the Straw Hats are rushing to save the children, it puts them in a direct crash course here on the little ship, so we could finally get to.
Yeah, and Luffy is still looking for Shanks.
Yeah, Luffy is lost, but the Straw Hats at least have found the bad guys, and so hopefully we will start to get some resolution on this.
And won't somebody please think of the children?
Yeah, they should cover her up. That's what they should do for the children. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Dr. Gomez, your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm along the same lines with everyone for this chapter. If we do go into like a Rocks flashback, I would want to see a reveal finally of the face and the whole, look. That'd be something cool to look forward. I am actually very intrigued by Nash because before Namigatsu's, I kept thinking like, if Big Mom gets knocked out or if she falls into the sea, does the power wears off? And it didn't happen. But then if there's a homie from way before that's still with the Giants, why is her devil fruit so different than Sugar's? Because when Sugar got knocked out by Usopp, then all the toys went back to normal. I don't know. That just intrigues me as like, as an academic, I want to get the right answer and
story
research.
Convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Probably.
I'm going to believe that there's something more intricate.
You should send that as an SBS. I mean, you are like quadrilingual.
Yes, polyglot after 3.
After 3, it's just polyglot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to do that because I want to know why her Big Mom's devil fruit is so different, or maybe it was something to do with because she ate Mother Caramel that made it different. I don't know. Now I'm just diverging. I like the chapter a lot in the sense that, the kids are safe. I always feel very tense when kids are in danger, and I would like jump into the screen and save them. I am going to jump on this theory that Gunko is an actual spy from the Revolutionary Army because they all wear goggles on their heads. And I saw this online, and now I believe that's what it is. And I'm going to die on the hill that she is a spy and she's not evil, or she was just brainwashed. That's all I have for this.
Kirsten.
I like that theory a lot. Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me, like, and I wrote this for my column for the blog last week, but like, I've kind of liked Gunko from the start, and I've had weird feelings about that because like celestial dragons are the worst and evil, and I feel like this is kind of the first chapter. I mean, when she says, like, they'll wake up from the heat and wail and cry for their parents and be consumed by the flames. Like, that was sort of, I was like, okay, no, she's, I remembered that she's evil, and my sort of like, oh, she listens to music after she eats. She's just like me, though, went away for a bit. So if Gunko turns out at least to be, like, a spy or a good guy, I would be elated. Yeah, I mean, it's just like all of these last chapters have just been like good times. Like they just feel like fun romps. They go down pretty easy. I love Luffy rushing over with that hot cup of soup. So funny. Just trying and failing to help. Yeah, like it's just a good time. My main thoughts has been like as someone who's been sort of finding a lot to like about certain aspects of the Holy Knights.
So Luffy is the Schlemiel and Loki is the Schlemazel.
Yeah.
Is that accurate, Zach?
Well, no, I mean because that's isn't that the joke that the Schlemiel is the guy who spills a bowl of soup at a fancy party, and Schlemazel is the guy he spills it on.
It was about soup, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember what TV show I heard that on.
Parks and Rec. It
was.
I think that was a Ron Swanson. Yeah, which is weird. Why would he know Yiddish? But okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Ron Swanson.
I'm gonna defer to Ed on that.
It might be. Yeah, I did like Parks and Rec.
Kirsten, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I was basically done. Yeah, great chapter. Good time. Go Jinbei.
Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Elbaf Incorporated. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Anyway, yeah, no, I really enjoyed this chapter. It's a really funny one. I think I mentioned, Steven, the page you read earlier. It like not only was it like good classic One Piece, which I think we've been saying about Elbaf generally, that it feels very from a different era of Oda's writing, which is for me complimentary. But it also just was genuinely very funny. And One Piece is, I think One Piece always struck me as special because it actually does make me laugh. Not a lot of fiction does that generally, like in that aren't like, comedic stories front and center, like as a secondary thing. A good example is like FMA. She tried a lot of humor, and some of it doesn't land, some of it does. But I think Oda is maybe first and foremost in his mind a humorist, and this chapter I think really reinforces that. It was very, very entertaining on that level. This also, I've been thinking about it since all the Egghead anime stuff has been coming out this past week, but I think we had discussed that the Egghead arc is an arc with characters, and the Straw Hats are secondary characters in that story, for good and for bad. But Elbaf is a story about the Straw Hats in a much more tangible way, and getting to see Jinbei in action, being like, how is this character going to interact with the book? And Shanks and Luffy's like Zoro and Sanji's a little back and forth. Like, the highlights of this chapter and the last few have all been about the Straw Hats and not secondary new.
The Straw Hats are in character and being funny,
right? Which they are usually, but
even Jinbei's like, yeah, don't mention it. Yeah, I'm cool.
Jinbei is probably humble, to be fair to him, because he does have that kind of personality. But we all know he's cool. Jinbei's cool. But yeah, no, that's what I really enjoyed about this chapter, is like it really represents the strengths of all the Straw Hats. Like, I think everyone except for maybe Usopp get like some sort of moment to shine.
Yes, Elbaf is not Usopp's arc after all.
Well, this chapter wasn't Usopp's chapter after all.
I mean, he got wasted. He's been having a great time in Elbaf.
Yeah. No, Usopp generally in Elbaf has been doing great. I just meant this specific chapter he's not in.
He's just a little sidelined.
Yeah. I think every other Straw Hat has some sort of role. So there were a few things that stuck out that we just haven't been through too much. I did really like all the stuff with Nash and the homies, and I'm glad that was addressed. I think that had moved from like strong possibility to almost certain already on the theorizing chart. So we get a confirmation there. The conversation with Scopper, and by conversation I mean monologue that he has with himself, really strikes me. Because everything that Scopper's been saying feels extra ominous. When he says, if this island still is standing at the end, I look forward to talking, or whatever that was when he said goodbye to the Straw Hats. And here, if even Elbaf isn't safe anymore, then it's truly the end of days. And like, this guy's been around for a while. I feel like this is kind of more Oda's voice coming in here. Like, this is like, as a reader to, put a pin in this specifically. Cause we might be getting into a really dark place soon in the main story. And he's right. Like, the fact that the government is willing to do this in Elbaf and probably had been planning something for quite some time, but the fact
they destroy the Lucia.
Well, I don't think Scopper
knows that.
I to be fair, I don't know if he reads the paper or not, but and I don't know if he knew Vegapunk's speech. Like, apparently Saul and folks listen to that, but I don't know if it's him putting two and two together with like contextual stuff, but at the very least, he's like, Elbaf is a safe place. The fact that the government is here and they're bringing such heavy hitters is concerning. So I found that very interesting. I do love the clouds generally playing such a fun role in Elbaf. We talked, I think Steven, did we talk last week? We were talking about how like the astral plane is still something we have not seen, and how odd that is, and the idea that basically Elbaf serves as several islands, and the middle one is a sky island at the very least, and we don't know what's going on the top yet, but it definitely it brings like an extra added.
Bring back Eneru. We want Eneru.
Yes, I think we've been saying that. Yeah,
we've been saying that since the beginning of the show.
Yeah, 16 years.
We could bring Tatum back on the show.
you just want to talk to Tatum. But yeah. And the stuff with Rocks. Oh, the only other thing I want to mention with Rocks is that I think he is an important character in the history of One Piece and probably will be in a flashback prominently featured. However, it's pretty clear from this that he's also an asshole, that he's fine stabbing some kid, or doing whatever with a knife to do this to Loki, who was 6, or did they say how old? No, just a boy. So I found that very interesting because, again, we talk about like hurting kids, and Rocks clearly showed that he doesn't give a shit. Kobe doesn't count. Luffy's allowed to hit Kobe because Kobe. But that's the one hall pass you get for that, Luffy. No more of that. Momonosuke too, I guess. Maybe Luffy's is more evil than I thought. Anyway, this is an interesting development. I think, and the stuff we talked about with Big Mom and the homies, like, I think we are probably in for a very interesting Loki flashback that will also have a lot of stuff with Rocks. And I think, so we've been silhouetting Rocks for quite some time, including when he was
So if we get more of a Loki flashback, we could do the Loki Pokey.
I'm going to ignore that. Gonna turn this about and say...
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. When you really think about it, it is. And it's because Loki here brings... I think this like Shanks Luffy thing with Loki and Rocks is a good reason to unsilhouette him, in my opinion. Like, I'm thinking, like, why has Oda waited, if he waits until here, Why is this the moment we see Rox? Why did Loki
I mean, it's not like
idolize
Rox was
him?
around during the Void Century, so he wouldn't be involved in that.
No, I meant in the past. So he was in the God Valley stuff, but we
Yeah.
didn't see him. He was in some of the stuff with Big Mom, but we didn't see him. And Kaido, but we didn't see him. Like, there have been a lot of very strong insinuations.
And Miss Buckin and Granny Nyon.
Yes.
They were
Oh,
all
the
members
God
of the
Valley
Rox Pirate.
thing. Yeah,
All
during God
members of
Valley.
the Rox Pirates, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, story-wise, it's been interesting that we haven't seen him yet. And we don't know if he's dead or not either. Like, we don't know if he still exists in the world, which is something I often forget, so I'm reminding myself. Anyway, that's really it. Kirsten, go ahead.
I feel like, there's definitely, they're setting up Loki as like the yin to Luffy's yang in a lot of ways. And like that also seems to be extending now to like Shanks and Rox. And I'm very excited to see where that all goes. I meant to mention that in my own recap, but
yeah, and I think Loki's like, we talk about the Endgame stuff a bunch, but like Loki is clearly having his about face, his heel turn, I believe is the proper term.
Face turn. He's
turn. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I was just completely wrong. But seeing him in battle at the end of the series behind Luffy can be very cool, and that's a very, very cool image, and especially given his douchiness generally, and how people have seen him as someone who is generally awful, adds another twinge of potential news that Big Morgans could exploit incorrectly. So we'll see. Any other thoughts on the chapter? Okay.
No thanks. I'm good.
All right, why don't we follow this mysterious arrow and head toward the next segment of the podcast?
This is the double anime recap for episodes 1123 and 1124. I'm your host, Sam, and today with me we have the President of the United States, Steve Yurko.
Boy, here I thought, like, you couldn't get any worse than me, but, yeah. I think
I have questions about the economy for you, but we can save that for,
don't ask me how
after
the
the
economy
anime.
works.
Isn't that your job? Aren't you President of the United States, Steve?
Oh, I'm just quoting The Simpsons at this point.
All right. Anyway, episode 1123, The World Shakes the Straw Hats Hostage Situation. And we return after a long hiatus. We are back to doing the anime recap. Last we gathered here, we were watching Garp and Kuzan duke it out on Full Lead Island.
God.
Now we're returning in media res to the events of the Egghead incident.
It feels so long ago, yet at the same time it doesn't. So,
we open on a very classy and very still overcast image, a wide shot of Egghead with the very minimalistic One Piece logo. Sans serif,
cold,
sort of
open.
like rotating in very calmly. Felt like something like a movie would do, and not the show.
Yeah, it makes me think of the Water 7 days. They had a lot of cold opens back then, but yeah, even so with that title card, yeah, it feels very. It feels like a TV show. This happens a lot. Yeah, I think it just happened like with Severance, where the runtime is long, so they're like, "Oh, we're not going to play the intro. We're just going to have like a title card here." Very much that, which is funny because there's a little bit of a clip show in this one.
Yes. First, the sun begins to rise, and we see a flock of news coups flying around the world. Key locations that we see here are Logtown and Windmill Village. And we also see a what's a group of whales called again? A school of whales, of island whales. And we get the narrator walks us through a pretty quick recap of the Egghead arc, which feels a little redundant because there was like a whole dedicated recap episode that aired shortly before this one. But we arrive at Party's Bar, and everybody in town is reacting to the news of Garp's defeat. And Whoop Slap speaks up, saying, "Oh, he's not dead. The news doesn't confirm that he's dead, so let's believe in him." And Makino's baby starts to cry, and she cheers him up and brings him over to the newspaper so that the baby can see Luffy's picture, because the baby is starting to recognize Luffy's face, and it calms him down. Up in the mountains,
I'm sure Whoop Slap is pissed.
Yeah. Up in the mountains, Dodon and her bandits are also reacting to the news. Dodon is angry and crying and very torn up by the situation. And they're constantly talking about the news regarding Garp and Luffy. So in the same paper that they're announcing Garp's defeat at Full of Lead, is presumably the news of Luffy holding himself up in Egghead. But then earthquakes begin, and this is hitting the whole world: the north, the south, the east, the west. Tsunamis, earthquakes. The narrator, the simple black and white title card, the narrator explaining, the earthquake on that day was unprecedented in recorded history. And a fleet of 100 Navy ships that far outclasses the Buster Call surrounds Egghead, and they are led by 9 vice admirals and Admiral Kizaru. And they're trying to fend off the cyber beasts, the sea beasts that guard Egghead Island. We got the giraffe taking a big bite out of one of the ships until Kizaru laser blasts it to death. And it sinks. Then that brings us to our new eye catches for this stretch of Egghead. One with Gear 5 Luffy and his crew, and then one with Vegapunk and his satellites. And they're very, very like sketchy, watercolory. They're going for like a low frame rate thing that I don't think it quite works. Like it just feels like missing frame. There are frames missing.
Yeah, these ones didn't quite land for me as much. I noted the watercolor aesthetic, but yeah, there was something a little bit off about the animation to me. But maybe that was intentional. But I don't know. They just they were just okay for me.
Mm-hmm. And we come back, and the Navy is taking a ramen break with Kizaru slurping some noodles and talking things out with Sentomaru on the phone. And they're clearly at opposite sides of the conflict here, and they're sharing this memory of their younger days when a quote unquote young Vegapunk and Kizaru and Sentomaru were all together on Egghead, and this is when Vegapunk was doing research on Kizaru's devil fruit powers, which would then turn into the lasers that the pacifistas use. So it's interesting to see that this trio definitely they go way back. They are more friends than you might think at first.
And we got to jump to the next scene. I kind of like wanted to go back and look at the eye catches again, and like they're definitely going for the illustrated aesthetic of like the color spreads, from the manga. Noting the low frame rate, I'm also noticing like when it shows the One Piece logo, it kind of like it's like the pixels are kind of like delayed. Like it's like pixels make up the logo. I don't know if you noticed about that, because I think also with the one with the Vegapunks, when they're in the vehicle and it makes like the one piece out of the clouds, that just looks very much like a color spread. And I think was maybe in a previous one, but I don't know. I think there was definitely some effort in there. I don't want to say they were low effort, but
so we have Vice Admiral Doberman filling Jay Garcia Saturn in on the situation. And the problem is that they cannot get through the frontier dome of Egghead. Nobody can enter, nobody can leave. There's just a big force field blocking everything. And Saturn is wanting to know about the various workers and like the contractors and whatnot who were previously working on Egghead. And Doberman says, well, they evacuated, but we have identified their ships. We know where they are. And then Saturn gives the order to sink them because they can't risk anybody on those ships knowing too much. But then when Doberman brings up Bonnie, Saturn's very quick to be like, who cares? We don't worry about her anymore.
I'll have to bite my tongue there.
We have the remaining 4 other elders hanging out back in Marijoa are picking up a phone call from York, and she's kind of boasting and sort of implying that she's defeated the Straw Hats because how else could she be talking to them on the phone right now? And there's this cool visual of while she's talking herself up, she's like, well, we've got the Seraphim, I've got the Mother Flame, got this great sequence of animation of the Seraphim like flying in and doing these like action poses while York does like a catwalk strut towards the camera.
Yeah, it's really cool, but it's so quick.
Yeah. So then they start negotiating over the Mother Flame, which York says that they have the power plant that can generate it is on Egghead. And so that's her bargaining chip to ensure her own safety. But for, like pretty quickly, she can't keep kayfabe, so she's like, "Please come save me!" And the camera pulls out, and we realize that this whole time she's been on the ground, chained, and being held hostage by the Straw Hats. And then that is the end of this first episode, which connects us to the new opening song, Angel and Devil by Green Boys. And it's very Bonnie and Kuma focused. It's very, it's revealing quite a lot of what we're going to be seeing in their flashback coming up.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I would say I was, us being manga readers, I was expecting so much more revealing what's happening in the second half of this arc. I'm amazed by the restraint. I like it. I think I like that it's really, it bounces. Yeah, it's focused. Like it bounces around. There's like the action on Egghead, and there's like cutting around to some other supporting characters that aren't there. But I'm kind of glad this one was specifically Bonnie and Kuma. And even the lyrics are very one-to-one with a lot of the themes for that flashback. To keep it brief. I don't even mean to keep it brief, but to say it bluntly, I think this one is a triumph. I think this opening is really great.
I think the focus is a weakness for me. The almost sort of like tunnel vision it has on this specific relationship, and like how everything that whenever they're cutting to like the Straw Hats is just kind of very generic, kind of just walking around.
I think the weirdest thing is seeing them in their Egghead outfits on the Sunny at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was odd. I'm like, why didn't you just like put them in like maybe like the outfits they were in prior to the outfit change? But I don't know. I still really like this one, and yeah, it is kind of very like of its like this is very Egghead. This one doesn't feel like it would represent the series as a whole as much, but I don't know. I still kind of like it, and who knows if it'll even last all of Egghead. I don't
can foresee
think
it. Like if we got like another 40 episodes,
I wouldn't put it
give or take.
I wouldn't put it past them, but I also wouldn't mind seeing this just carry the rest of Egghead. It just,
you mean like once we're getting to the more actiony stuff, they might trade it out for something else?
Yeah, which I don't. I don't need. I don't know. I'm old school. I'm not the biggest fan of constantly changing the openings. I like one staying long enough to kind of. I'm used to kind of like, I don't know. It's one arc. Keep it. Keep one opening.
Two openings for one arc is sounds fair to me.
But we are talking about One Piece, where the arcs are very long at this point. Yeah. So, but I don't know. I don't want to talk spoilers too much, but as Egghead is not, Egghead's not a Wano here. So,
yeah, the bit from this opening that did like cut a little for me was like Bonnie doing the transitions from being like a baby to like getting older, and then like juxtaposing that with like the close up on Kuma's like snotty crying face. It's like watching his little girl grow up. That was effective.
Just really paying attention to like the lyrics, and I think what got me was him writing to Bonnie. I was like, and with the lyrics or something along the lines of it's like this can't filled with love, that can't be written down in a letter, and I'm like, oh. knowing what's coming. I don't know. It's a really good one, and Us was like a tough one to follow for me. But I think still great stuff, and even like the stuff with the Straw Hats in the beginning looks great, and that's I don't necessarily know who's doing animation here. Like Midori Matsuda does a lot of the design stuff. Do they animate as well? I forget.
I don't know. I know. I think they're a designer mostly.
Okay.
I think they do some scenes now and there. Here and there.
Because it feels very much her in those opening bits with the Straw Hats kind of just interacting with each other. It's great.
She's gonna be doing a lot of the upcoming card arts.
Yeah, I mean, I her stuff that she does for the Japanese Blu-ray releases are fantastic.
But there's I guess a post-credit scene, you could call it, after this as well. Where we're now that the reveal that the Straw Hats are holding York hostage is revealed. We get to kind of like have a little scene of them all kind of interacting and discussing their situation. This is our first time getting to hear Frankie's new voice, Subaru Kimura, which is in this episode it's one line. In the next episode there's a few more lines, and it's definitely not a voice match, which I don't know if I'm surprised by, but it's still just like, wow, I can't. We really have a new voice for a Straw Hat.
Yeah, it's such a. Yeah, I was surprised too and it's one line. I mean, I guess we might as well talk about it because Frankie has a few more lines in the second episode, but it's a performance. I don't want to say it's bad, but it's just, I don't know. It doesn't have that gravitas that I think I'm so used to the gravel in Yao's voice over the years. But even so, like when Frankie first was introduced back in Water 7, I'm like, it's definitely like a voice that stands out. And but this one, I don't know. And I'm worried too, is because what Frankie gets to do in this arc. There's not always like a whole lot of opportunities for him to have long bits of dialogue or some other big scenes. So I don't know what to think of this one. It's just kind of it to me, it's almost like wrong sounding Muppets.
Yeah. Yep. I see the vision a lot more in the second episode. But yeah, it's a new voice, and like I think I will be able to get used to it, but right now it's just sort of just an uncanny feeling. Like, that's not Frankie, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you've seen of this like mini controversy happening on Twitter, where everyone's throwing a fit over Sanji having heart eyes for Bonnie.
Not. I was interested when I was watching the episode myself. I was like, I don't recall him doing that at this point, but I think maybe because at this point in the story we're still a little unaware.
Yeah, and like I figure like the Toei staff, they don't really have a reason to care.
Well, see, also, yeah. Well, Sam, so your problem is also assuming that I'm checking Twitter.
I'm still checking Twitter way too much, and
I'm
somewhere like this. I guess this topic got fed to my algorithm as like a thing I want to see all the time, and it's just like very strange how emotional people are about like perceived agendas on the animator's part.
That's so,
and everyone's just kind of like feeling these conspiracy theories about this being like some intentional thing to mark the character poorly.
Is it just me, or does that sound like the stupidest thing?
It is. No, it's stupid, and it's just like completely like, oh, how are the people making my product not as invested in fandom drama as I am? What are people going to say about my goat if the animators keep thinking it's okay to make them look not as cool all the time?
I just, I'm not really posting on Twitter much, and I think a lot of, fortunately, that's unfortunately where a lot of the conversations still are. But then it's conversations like this, and I'm like,
it does it does tread on like a genuine like misinformation, like conspiracy theory mindset
what grounds is there to talk?
Well, like another thing I saw, like speaking of Midori Matsuda, like there was a One Piece magazine about Zoro and Sanji, and I saw like the same kind of people like really getting riled up over the fact that Matsuda was more interested in like her interviews and talking about Zoro than talking about Sanji, and they were like, oh my god, it's so unprofessional that they don't give both characters equal amount of attention in all situations.
I don't know. I think it's just what a weird thing to just think it's so. Why do we got to get so defensive about fandom? I guess I don't know. Yeah, it takes me back to when I was younger and when just like I felt like we had chips on our shoulders because we were like, One Piece is so good and it's so popular in Japan, but no one likes it here. Mm-hmm. It's like they don't know. I don't know. That's just. Yeah. I think it's really kind of just twisting the narrative due to your frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Staff members are going to have like favorite characters and stuff, but I don't see how the hard eyes thing, which when I look in the context of this scene, it's Sanji being chivalrous to a lady.
Yeah,
I don't know how is it any different than what Sanji's ever done. Oh, I remember. Well, there's the doggy scene.
Well, don't you know, Steve, that Oda intentionally never had him draw heart eyes for Sanji for Bonnie, and this is an intentional choice that we can definitely say that Toei is failing to appreciate. And that is unprofessional of them.
So in the span of these 5 minutes, I have not gone back to check.
I'm sorry. We've spent too long on this topic already.
Yeah, it's dumb. That's as much energy as I want to give to it.
So Luffy answers he takes the phone for himself, and he's like, "Oh, is this the Five Elders?" And he's getting ready to introduce himself before the "To Be Continued" card hits us. And it's just reminds me of the good old days when Luffy took the phone from Baron Tamago to talk to Big Mom. Episode 1124, completely surrounded, the operation to escape Egghead. And so Luffy is proudly announcing himself over the phone to the five elders. My name is Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will be king of the pirates. And we get a cutaway shot of not just the elders being surprised by this, but Morgans and company. They're listening in too. They've got their wires tapped. And, Vivi is responding. Wapol is like, oh my god, this twerp is still fighting against authority. When will he ever change? And then Robin swiftly shuts Luffy up. But the elders hear her voice over the phone. They deduce who she is. And they sort of look they look sullen over this information. They're thinking about what they want out of Miss Nico Robin. And Robin is telling Luffy, information is a weapon. You must not give it to your enemies. And at first Luffy was annoyed that she was interrupting him, but he's pretty quick to see her logic. And then back to Saturn and Doberman. Saturn is telling Doberman, there are 3 things we must protect: York's safety, Punk Records, and the power plant that makes the Mother Flame. Everything else is expendable. And Doberman is starting to sweat. He doesn't like the implication there. He's asking, well, what about CP0? We don't know about their safety. We don't know about their condition. And then Saturn's like, well, I'm just talking worst case scenario. Think of anything else. Think of other human lives as insects. And Doberman is just clearly conflicted about the position he's being put in. And York is boasting about this upcoming attack from the Navy ships being just like what happened to O'Hara. And then on Robin's behalf, Nami starts whacking York with her baton. And Vegapunk's like, well, I'm ready to go. I got my backpack. I got my PB&J. Let's head out. And Lilith is crying about Edison, who's like in her arms. His little electrical plug pin is broken off. Lilith is crying as if Edison is dead, but Edison is speaking up like, hey, I am alive, just so you know. But Lilith doesn't seem to respond to that information. And then Vegapunk has the Seraphim trapped in these like basically sea prison bubbles, effectively. And Frankie over the video call is thanking S-Snake specifically for undoing the petrification that she had trapped him in earlier, which she did at Luffy's request. And there's a little flashback of S-Snake getting all flustered by Luffy and that is something that seems to have been passed along from
I guess it's just genetic
from Hancock's genetics. And Vegapunk is like, oh, I gotta take notes of this. This is very interesting. Isn't DNA fascinating? The bloodline elements.
Oh yes, bloodline elements. We're both Metal Gear fans. We realize how everything just comes down to genetics.
Mm-hmm. York is bragging about the passcode she set on the Frontier Dome. And since her brain is not currently synced to the other satellites or to Vegapunk, nobody has a way of knowing what the code is. And Lilith tries attacking her, and she's like swinging her fists, but Edison is like with his jetpack, he's like pulling her back, so she's just kind of like swinging barely inches away from York's face. And Lucci just kind of like sits quietly and is whispering to himself, taking a head count of all the injured fighters in present company. The number of injured satellites or deceased satellites, and the number of Straw Hats. And Kaku is like, "What are you mumbling about, Lucci?" And Lucci just says, "Nothing, just talking to myself." And that brings us to the eye catch for this episode. Were you going to say something, Steve?
No, just me being suspicious towards Lucci.
We come back and Stussy is strutting through the halls. She's giving us a head count of the number of ships and soldiers arriving, like 100 ships, 30,000 soldiers. Vegapunk is, helping Nami determine where her log pose is pointing towards. And he's like, oh, that's Elbaf. And then Luffy and Usopp get very excited by this news. We're heading to Elbaf. We're going to the Giant's place. We get a little, we get a billboard of Dory and Brogy. And so the crew is now devising a plan for getting off of Egghead. Vegapunk and Frankie are sharing ideas that involve using the Vega Force 1 to fly, but the Vega Force 1 has like a limit. It can only fly away from Egghead so far before it loses its flight ability. And then that's when Frankie speaks up and says, well, that's when we can use the coup de burst. And then Vegapunk is stunned that their ship has such technology in it. And he asks Frankie, how does it work? And then Frankie tells him it's powered by cola. And then Vegapunk is stars in his eyes. He's very charmed by this knowledge.
I like how you see all like the equations as seem to be in an ocean of cola. It was a nice little touch here.
And so the Vegapunks, they get a fire in their eyes. Vegapunk, Lilith, and Edison, they get to work trying to crack York's code, because that's the first barrier they'll need to lower in order for their plan to work. And then we get a cool shot of Luffy, Frankie, and Lilith, and Bonnie just sort of jumping off the cliff and fruit falling, because they're going to head towards the Sunny and the Vega Force 1 and get into position, basically. And Lilith is excited to leave the island for the first time, because she's basically created here and born here and hasn't had a reason to really go anywhere else. Bonnie and Luffy are talking about the food ingredients that they're taking along with them, and Luffy's like, well, Sanji can just whip up a pizza out of this, so we're all good. And Bonnie is excited by that information. She likes pizza. She's impressed that Sanji is strong and a good cook. She's a glutton. And Luffy is taking note of the fact that she's in such a good mood now, since previously she was crying the full night before. So she was sad because she clearly just experienced something from her father's memories, and now she's there's a silver lining on the horizon, and she's in a good mood. And she's even starting to feel somewhat forgiving towards Vegapunk. And then we have the Marines at the crack of dawn. They're all sending each other hand signs, hand salutes, to prepare for battle with the sea beasts coming up. And just when you think that it's going to be the Marines versus the sea beasts, Kizaru is already on the island. He's bouncing off of the glass walls of the city in that sort of like light beam zigzag pattern. And he's launching himself directly at Sentomaru head on. Sentomaru is bracing himself, doing the sumo pose. Like, my defense is the greatest in the world! And then they clash. Huge explosion. Luffy and company, they all react to this huge burst of light and wind. And Luffy has kind of a concerned look on his face. He's like, oh, someone's here. Someone's strong. Dun dun dun. To be continued. And then we get our proper full first look at the new ending credit sequence, The One by Muke. I don't know how to pronounce this band's name, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Maku.
Yes, and this ending definitely feels like a spiritual continuation of the opening. Very Bonnie focused, very Kuma focused. Very just like
yeah, and also kind of breaks away from like the house style of One Piece, if we even have one at this point. Very unique. But yeah, it's focused on like adult Bonnie looking at kid Bonnie and flashbacks. We get a little bit of Vegapunk here,
Mm-hmm.
But it's
what's
beautiful.
that? What was that like children's toy that was like it was like a drawing pad where like the surface was black and then you draw into it in like the rainbow pattern underneath. What was the name of that?
Because I'm thinking of like I know because it's not not an Etch-a-Sketch. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you see like the infomercials for it a lot. But I don't remember what that was called. But you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about like the drawings of like young Bonnie and like Kuma?
Yeah, like a lot of the ending is in this like the background is black and then there's just these kind of colored stylized drawings of each of them.
Mm-hmm.
Alternating.
And also like the most like the most not like out there for One Piece in terms of visuals. This ending is when we get like these quick shots of animals.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one of like a hawk or a falcon. There's one of a spider trapping a butterfly in a web. And then like there's this big wide shot of this giant canyon. And it just feels so tied to the real world. I'm like, oh, this is not how the One Piece world looks, especially with the animals too. And I'm guessing there's symbolism here with like the bird and perhaps the spider, wink wink, keeping a blue butterfly caught in a web and about to be devoured. There's definitely a hidden meaning there, but it just feels so like it's one thing to like draw these characters slightly different. It's like okay, it's like it's kind of like the first ending we got back in Wano. I forgot the name of it with
Rise?
The Yamato. Yeah, the Yamato
Or
focused one.
I think.
Race, yes. Yeah, and that one had like a unique kind of like art direction there. So I maybe that's more of like a mod, like that's like a current thing with other anime. You could tell, geez, I watch too much One Piece and nothing else because I know other animes kind of do that. So
the words coming to my mind is elevated shonen.
Elevated
like how they use the term like elevated horror, which is like some people would use as a kind of a derogatory term, just as like a something that feels more I guess something that's directed in a way that feels more important over something that feels kind of schlocky. Which I don't know if that's a super appropriate description, but like like something that's going for like a more self-serious style.
Yeah, this one does feels very serious, but I like the song and I like the visuals. I think it's great. Whenever like these beams of light hit Bonnie, I really like the color design here. Lots of pinks and blues. That's cool.
Yeah. General thoughts on these two episodes, Steve?
As episodes themselves, they're fine. I don't think there's a whole lot of standout sequences because it's a lot of kind of moving the pieces on the board. I mean, that's what these chapters and that's what the chapters they're based off of are. It's I don't know. It's nice to see. It's nice to have new episodes again. Even though I'm not caught up with the dub, or did I finish watching special edition of Fishman Island? But it's nice to see One Piece back. I think it doesn't seem like it's missed a beat. I like that it's trying new things. I like that like cold open of the first episode. It kind of felt it felt like I won't even like compare it to another anime because obviously I'm not watching enough. It felt like I was watching like almost like prestige television with that kind of direction. Like maybe it is like a little self-serious.
I think that's another equivalent to the elevated blank genre.
What you were saying, yeah. It felt very like, this is a big deal here.
I know, which is like honestly, like that's always like what I wanted to see more of out of One Piece when it was in the jank days.
Yeah, for sure. I like the cold opens. I would like to see those used more often.
Mm-hmm.
It's you got to think though, like they wouldn't have even done this if One Piece was on hiatus. I guess it's kind of like you got to do this because One Piece is on hiatus. But I thought, well, that's what that recap was for and all that. But
yeah,
I'm not going to complain. I think it's cool, but I just realized like the whole reason for it even happening is just because there was a hiatus. Otherwise, it's a point in the story where this isn't even like that huge of a turning point for this arc.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how much we're going to feel any sense of like renewed direction for the anime starting from this point forward. Because like, I mean, like obviously Egghead's been beautiful. But I know that there's a lot of, there is some changing hands. They clearly spent a lot of time on hiatus, like kind of building to this return.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much we're going to feel that even after that cold open.
I'm not sure
if there's any artistic statement of intent happening here.
I think you're like we're getting that with 1123, but I think as we go on, it's kind of gonna be back to the usual, which is not a bad thing. I think Egghead has been handled tremendously well in the anime as I've been going back and checking out the dub episodes. I just think this hiatus was just so to give the manga some breathing room. Maybe also give the animation staff, a little bit of, time to, relax, recover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, financially, I don't know how that works because I don't know when they would have started working on episodes again, but I just take it as, hey, it's just a break. We'll be back, and it'll be as it was, and you're gonna get some really great stuff down the line. You're gonna get some, your standard episodes. So, I'm not disappointed at all. I enjoyed these. I think I've just been so in the mindset that Egghead has still been going on. I kind of forgot there was a hiatus. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought overall these episodes felt pretty return to form, which is like a good thing considering the quality of Egghead.
That's a great way of saying it.
I'm still my eyes and ears are still open for like what's going to feel different between Egghead Part 1 and Egghead Part 2, because I just feel like more than we can see right now is going to unfold, but that's purely a gut feeling.
And I wonder, I mean, thinking ahead, like for arcs after this, like how the anime is going to differ, if it's going to feel the same, because it seems like with the direction they went with Egghead was a similar approach to how they handled Dragon Ball Daima, with I think the same kind of post animation effects, compositing and all that. So I wonder if this is just the new toy, like we're doing this now, or this is just like this is gonna be the Egghead aesthetic, but then we're gonna change it up again after we're done.
Because the arcs go so long that the just like artistic taste is going to change by the time that the arc changes over. So it's almost inevitable, even if it's not on purpose.
Yeah, it's hard for me to kind of realize because I still think like, Dragon Ball Super Broly, that was a recent movie. No, it was 8 years ago.
It does feel recent.
I hope I didn't, I hope I didn't mess with anyone's heads too much. Yeah, I think it came out in 2018 in Japan, right? And then it was early 2019 for us.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. Time is a cruel mistress.
All right. Thank you very much, Steve. I look forward to returning to these anime recaps.
Yeah, really happy to be back. Talk about the anime with you, Sam.
All right. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
Let's go.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and then hide them behind a trench coat and then with Whitebeard in it. That doesn't really work. Before we get into the Piece Together segment, we still have Dr. Gomez with us. How's it going, Doc?
Pretty good.
We have translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump Manga Plus, Stephen Paul, with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Present.
I have to say the whole thing otherwise. We have writer for our website, many other sites, art musician, including for our podcast music. We have Kirsten Carey joining us. She joined in the middle of the manga, so I could give a real introduction now. Kirsten.
Thank you. I feel so special to cause a full reintroduction of everyone.
It wasn't just you. We also have from ProZD Plays Games, literally, here comes Steve Yurko, co-host in this timeline. How's it going, Steve?
What's up, gamers? It's time to play Piece Together.
Yay!
Hopefully not a long play, you know.
All right, Zach, you can go now. This is the podcast of Theseus. I'm going to take off another 15 minutes. Someone else will take my place. We'll have a completely different cast by the end.
Okay. I totally get this reference.
I get it. He's making a WandaVision reference.
So let's start with Steve. What do we call this segment?
Douche. I always do the dirt. I'm talking like Goldberg.
You are.
Dish
No,
piece.
dish.
Dish
Dish
piece. Hey,
Dish
dish.
piece. We should just do everything like Goldberg from now on.
Dr. Wowie.
You could be guaranteed your question answered if you're a patron on our Discord. You could join our Discord at discord.gg/One Piece Podcast, I think is the URL. Anyway, or join us on Patreon at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. Anyway, first question. Sailor Karna asks, "Hey OPP, it's been a week. This chapter was hilarious, and I can't wait for Nami versus Gunko." It was more of a comment.
Yeah, I was going to say it was very funny that you said asks because there was no question.
Yeah, that's on me, Zach. Next question
I'm
comes...
so excited for Nami versus Gunko.
Yeah, it could be a question. It's
True,
all an inflection.
true. But there was a period at the end, so it wasn't. So we have to move on to the next one, which is a question from Kramoon, who says, "Ahoy, OPP. Banger chapter as always, and hilarious to boot. Looks like Loki low-key, I get it, wanted to join Rocks because he thought Rocks rocks and wanted to play rock music in a low key. Speaking of music, I'm super excited for the Brook and Gunko interactions we're hopefully about to get. Do you think he'll be happy to see panties?" He already is. It's a present tense thing. That doesn't need to be a future tense. Have a good week. It's more of a rhetorical question, I feel like, because I think we know the answer to that.
I feel like he will not, because with him, it's more of like a harassment thing. Like if someone actually shows it to him, like it's like, oh, you just ruined it.
Gross.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I just want to go to jail.
He's just chasing the car. He doesn't want to catch it.
Yeah.
That's
he's like a dog, yes. Although he is the bone.
He's a dog and the bone.
He's the dog and the bone. We all remember how that went on Zoe. So, Hopkins Hat 15 says, "Hey OPP, how it be? Hey, Sanji used Arme de la Air." That's how I choose to pronounce that. Assault. Just like in Drum Island.
Accent.
Just like in Drum Island. And I think Thriller Bark. It was Drum Island and you mentioned already, Steve.
And Davy Backfight, yeah.
Davy Backfight. What's a combo move you want to see again? I mean, obviously, we talk about Thriller Bark. It's the docking.
Docking. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, with all 10 now.
We're all friends here.
Yeah.
What was it? I'd rather die.
Sports.
Is that what she says?
Speaking
Robin?
of Thriller Bark 2, was the combined bounty, what was it, jackpot?
Yes, there was the jackpot punch thing.
Yeah, they
That was
did
a
have
good
an
one,
actual
too.
move, yeah.
I was like, this is going to be our thing now. Not that was guaranteed, but that was a cool little thing. The Straw Hats are never together anymore. They're always separated.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, they've been.
Even
this
though
arc has been.
they were
better,
separated at that point in Thor Park. So
to be fair, they're always. I mean, in an arc, they always get separated at some point. They're not together the entire time in an arc. I don't think that has ever happened.
some could say even the best arcs of One Piece have the Straw Hats separate.
Yeah, I mean, even Arlong, they weren't all together the whole time, and there were only a couple, if you could even say that. Final disc piece. Hey, quiet disc piece this week. VHS Broccoli Patch. I get it. On both accounts. Says OPP. Given that Sanji was able to shoot broccoli at a Groggysaurus, what other vegetables would he shoot for each Straw Hat? Also, in that Groggysaurus made an oblique reference to the Groggy Ring. Hey, Steven, you mentioned that too. We're good this week. We got all these ahead of time.
Yes. And then we
So
found
what
out.
what
no.
vegetables are the Straw Hats, I believe, is the question here.
Only vegetables?
By look. Yeah, I think only
Yeah.
vegetables. Maybe fruit.
Because I was going to say, like, yeah, if fruit was okay, like Chopper could be a kiwi.
Can Brook be celery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
he's
of
kinda
what.
got the-
Is Jinbei like a turnip or a radish of some kind?
Yeah.
Yes, but like a hardy turnip.
Yeah, like
or yeah.
They can be hardy.
Oh no, that's a hardy truffle I'm thinking of. I'm having issues. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else. Nami is obviously a tangerine.
But that's not a.
That's not a vegetable.
No, I said fruit also is fine because then I don't want to get into the argument as is blank a fruit or
Yeah.
a vegetable.
We can't
I'm
say
not-
tomatoes. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Purple's a fruit.
ketchup's a fruit. That's a different thing. Yeah, I don't know if I have any other.
That's a
fruits or
tough one,
vegetables.
yeah.
Zoro.
We did broccoli.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I think
He's-
Robin would be a blueberry or a raspberry.
Wait, there was a color spread about this.
Oh, the
The
fruit.
one,
yeah,
the fruit superheroes.
fruit power.
But
fruit
Sanji, if
plus
he were
9
kicking
or something.
himself, would be a banana. Now that's a good episode image. Sanji kicking
Yeah.
himself dressed as a banana.
What is it? Peanut butter jelly time?
I just ate a peanut butter jelly sandwich, so yes. I eat like a
A
child
rare
now.
delicacy.
They're good. I forgot how good they were. It was a really long time. Okay, so that's it for this piece, I think. Let's move on to. We don't have anything in the subreddit archipelago, right?
No.
It's empty. It is. There's a
Yep.
tumbleweed or a bubble. Tumbleweed.
Yeah, just
Or a
floating
tumbleweed in a bubble floating by. Anyway, we're gonna go to Blue Skypea, which is really where we all want to go anyway. You could ask questions to our. I was going to say to our Skypea account, to our Blue Sky account at OnePiecePodcast.com. First one comes. There's two messages here from Ice Fisher Tenacity, who says, "Now that Zabek has dialogue, do you think the anime will disguise his voice like they did for emus? Just get a menacing sounding voice actor to voice him, or pray that Oda fully reveals his personality before the anime gets to Elbaf?" Personally, I think the last one. So, me personally, Zach. So they don't have to take chances. I don't think that's the reason they would do it, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean the reason why they had to do the crazy filter on Emu is because we literally don't even know Emu's gender, which is part of the the tricky part in dubbing an actor like that. I don't see why they couldn't have someone picked out for Zabek. I mean, he's going to be like a rough and tumble pirate. So
Has he really never had dialogue? I for some reason thought he may have.
No.
Okay. This person continues on. I'm very curious about the astral world. It could be 20 to 30 kilometers above sea level since island clouds are stable at 10 kilometers and the sun world's only halfway up the tree. At that height, it could make an awesome spread of Luffy seeing distant islands below like Wano or even Lodestar.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, Steven doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what to add to this. It is interesting. I am very curious too. But yeah, I don't know anything else about it.
I'm looking 30 kilometers above sea level is what's the atmosphere? I'm just like curious what that would even be here. It's still very well. It's in the stratosphere. So there's that. It's above the ozone layer, I think.
Okay, so you get fried.
So you get fried, yeah. If you have even with melatonin, I don't think you'd make it through very
slather
far.
up.
What a way to put that. Why did I close out of Blue Sky to read? Okay, next one comes from Nick, who says, first, I just want to say that discovering your podcast was a breath of fresh air. I find large shonen fandoms frustrating and sometimes scary, so it's nice to have a cozy and wholesome corner that I could tune into when I want to hear people talk about One Piece. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah, I empathize with this listener for sure.
The key is it was a tiny shonen fandom when we started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it still has that vibe here, because we don't change.
That's true.
No, we refuse.
We
It's about
refuse to
preservation.
change. Yeah, we will. We are just very boring. Anyway, speak for myself, I guess. Nick continues. It says, second, I think it's interesting that. This is long. Okay, sorry. I just saw it was one of four. I think it's interesting that while Rox obviously brutalized Loki, he didn't kill him, which feels like something he would have no problem doing. It felt less like he was genuinely angry and more like he was just very annoyed. The way that he apparently easily gave in when Loki challenged him and let out a huff when Whitebeard chastised him for attacking a kid seemed very childish to me. Basically the opposite of how Shanks was introduced. The scene reminded me of a little brother begging a short-tempered older brother to let him hang out with him and his friends. Loki also doesn't appear to hate or resent Rox for what he did, instead sounding rather wistful. While I do think Rox D. Zabek was definitely a bad guy, I feel like we're going to see more depth, or at least another side to him, than how Sengoku had described him, which I don't remember, to be honest. But I could look that up.
I thought I just remembered that he was like, the big bad pirate of his day.
I mean, I feel like my idea of Rox is mainly just formed that, like, he was a big enough, like, quote unquote baddie that Roger thought necessary to team up with Garp against him.
Oh,
and
Sengoku,
that's why I assumed he was bad.
It was during that bounty chapter, I think. It was when he was
Yes, it was.
explaining
Mhm.
everything. It was the exposition chapter, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Any other thoughts on Rox?
I just want to see his hair. The silhouette is always crazy.
Yeah.
Watches that's not his
Yeah.
hair. It's like the opposite of the Odin
Oh,
thing.
God.
It's like he has 1,000,000 horns or something ridiculous.
Or it's just a crown or a hat.
Yes.
Yeah, he's wearing the Hawaiian fresh guy's straw hat, or yeah, Hawaiian punch. Yeah, punchy. That's right.
Oh yeah, we've discussed that I think before.
Mhm.
Next one comes from Pluvio, who says, I'm glad Jinbei was able to put the fire out, but it also would have been a nice touch if Nami helped. Her and Zeus, true, could have worked together to create an enhanced rainstorm of some kind. I would love for Oda to do anything with Nami and the climate act that isn't lightning summoning. I knew where
so
this sentence
true.
was going before I finished reading. Yeah, I
That's
think
so true.
we've discussed this many times here. It's absolutely true.
When's the last time she used like the Mirage, like the Fata Morgana thing?
Oh yeah.
Is it Enies Lobby?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
missed that attack.
Didn't she use it in like Punk Hazard, like briefly?
Yes, she did. I think you're right.
Like when they were trying to protect the kids and all that.
Well, now I
Yeah,
look this
something
up,
like
but I don't
that.
know if I'm going to find it.
But anyway,
I
it's
was-
still a long time since she's done anything more than just lightning.
Yeah, I was trying to think too. I was like, maybe she hasn't been using Zeus because like Oda wants to avoid like opening up the storyline of Big Mom's homies being in Elbaf and ticking the giants off in some way. But that she did use him to shock the what was the thing in the castle? It was the hedgehog, right? Didn't she use that? She electrocuted the hedgehog thing.
Yeah, she loves electrocuting things.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is gonna be like waiting for like a Susan Nash reunion, and then they can talk.
So I'm looking.
So,
she used the heat egg against Monet, and that's some time ago.
Oh yeah, to burn her wing.
Yeah.
She also made like a bridge of clouds, didn't she?
She did. I think it's like she really has just not. I think they're all lightning related since the newest model, which I guess is the one with Zeus.
mm-hmm.
She could have done more in the fight against Ulti, but that's okay.
Yeah, because I just see thunder clouds, thunder. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I would love to see more than just lightning spam. I feel like God, was it? Maybe it was. I guess maybe versus Khalifa was the last time we saw like a little variety there.
Yeah, because she made like clones, and then she made like a thunder cloud that would like travel. Like that was a little more interesting.
I forget who I was talking about this with. It might have been Alex, but it was just like Nami versus Miss Doublefinger was such like a tease. Thinking like, cool, this is what Nami's fights could be. It's just this whole like just barrage of like these different just tricks and attempts. And I don't know how she just is lightning.
Yeah.
That was a
the
brutal
weather eggs
fight,
too.
I remember. That was like a good. It's memorable. Like it's a visceral fight.
But I feel like it's the same
like
with
the
Usopp.
weather eggs, right? Like the weather eggs are from Witheria, right?
Witheria, yeah, and we haven't gotten a ton of Witheria.
It's just
stuff.
mostly just keep black thunderclouds in there. So,
although we did get a little Witheria stuff with an Egghead, right? Because the
Vegapunks are up there now.
Yeah. That's it for Piece Together then. Why don't we round off? This has been episode 863 of the One Piece podcast for April 7th, 2025. Steve, you had a bunch of tidbits that you want to let us know that you had opinions on about the chapter, right?
Yeah, so sorry for missing the manga recap this week. Just want to point out some things that maybe only I could contribute. With Goldberg's a shield here named Nash, I was curious if this is possibly a reference to Kevin Nash, a prominent professional wrestler in the 90s who actually ended Bill Goldberg's winning streak in WCW in 1998.
Oh.
So
that sounds like a smoking gun there.
Possibly. I don't know. Because Goldberg wasn't really known for having too many allies and stuff. So like what is like kind of in that circle there? So it's possible.
Yay, sports.
Yeah, fake sports. Woo! Yeah. Only fake sports around here for me. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's any other observations that I might have missed. I don't think so. I think it was a really fun chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed talking about it. I think I guess the biggest thing to chew on here is the stuff about rocks here. But not surprising that I'm like, oh, I guess Loki's been alive for a while, so I guess like when he was a lad, this would be the pirate crew he would have tried to be on. But I really enjoyed that, and I think this was it's further making Loki a full-fledged character and maybe well liked, because I really enjoyed the bits with Luffy trying to feed him and just only making it worse. It was really fun though.
Yeah, I agreed. Schlemiel Schlemazel thing Ed pointed out, and that Luffy being one and Loki being the other is very funny. So before we go, I have a surprise. We're going to do a little bit of trivia at the end, and I assume Steve's going to win. But actually, no, we have someone who is literally like the doctor of One Piece, and that's Dr. Gomez. Thanks for coming on. Where can people find you?
Thank you. So my social media, Watermelon Queen 12. I just love watermelons. And that's where I post a lot of my research fun. Also, there's a lot of pressure to put on me here for the trivia. I just want to know, what happens if I win?
Well, I used to give away Taiyaki. That was
You
during
said you
Wano.
would give away Taiyaki.
I did give away some when we went to Japan.
Do I at least get bragging rights?
Yeah. I think it's funny. Like,
you could
I'm
say,
unwilling
like,
to give those away.
I won. I'm the most recent trivia champion. You could say that.
Yes.
It could be like the next new thing, you know?
Yeah, it could be.
I'm going to go cry in the corner now.
Oh.
Don't cry till you win.
Yeah, you have to cry after you win.
No crying in baseball, no crying in trivia.
Yeah, okay, let's cut it out with the sports this week. Dr. Gomez, I thought we were safe. Okay. Kirsten, where can people find you?
They can find me on Blue Sky. I'm KIRCAREY. And on Instagram, you can just add GTR to that, and you can find me. If you live in the New York City area, you can also find me in person. I'm going to be playing a short set of traditional Tsuguru shamisen music at the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens Hanami Nights on April 23rd. Very excited for that. I also have a new album out called Washing Machine Incident. That is on my personal Bandcamp, Kirsten-Carey.bandcamp.com. If you like eerie drones, check it out. It's with this really great bass player from Japan. I don't know. I will briefly mention, because my Mercury is perpetually in retrograde, apparently, there is a label who also released this album without our permission. Don't buy it from them. Buy it from us, if you buy it. Otherwise, just enjoy it.
I will blame
and enjoy
Mercury
your time.
for that specifically. Yeah. Thanks, Kirsten. Steven, what about you? Where can people find you when Mercury's in retrograde?
Whether retrograde or what's the inverse of that?
Future
prograde. What?
Would it be prograde? Like retro and prospective? Like. Anyway,
I don't know.
Steven.
I'm over on Blue Sky at stephenpaul.bsky.social. And yeah, you can check out all of the wonderful series that I work on that are simulpubbed on viz.com and shonen.com, shonenjump.com, manga plus, shueisha.co.jp, all the good stuff. One Piece, Akane Banashi, Showa Shoten, and Trillion Game now joining them. So
I didn't know you were doing Trillion Game.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, there's a new Trillion Game live action movie in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in it.
Really?
I have a cameo and apparently a short speaking line that made it into the movie.
Wow.
We should really be introducing you with that first and foremost.
Yeah. Actor.
My one and only acting role. They needed like 100 foreigners to play foreign celebrities in Montenegro.
Wow.
It's just a start.
Montenegro.
Yeah. So I got
not
roped
even
into
North
that.
Macedonia.
I know, right? Come on.
Okay. Thank you, Steven. Steve, where can people find you?
SteveYurko.com. Social media, Steve Yurko is the username. Most spots. Listen to me on 4Kids Flashback with Tara Sands. Listen to me on ProZD Plays Games with ProZD. Over on YouTube. And yeah, that's about it. I think what's it called? Yeah, I guess I'll be around at Castle Point Anime, which is a New Jersey con, in late April. I'll just be helping out Sungwon there. But if you go to that con, you're local, and you see me, and say hey.
Where in New Jersey is that? Should I come by?
I think Secaucus.
Oh, that's not super far. Secaucus, New Jersey. You're on the air.
Yeah.
I had to. It's like I can't help it. You could find us at OnePiecePodcast.com. You could find me at ZachLogan.com on Blue Sky. You can find us at OnePiecePodcast.com on Blue Sky. One Piece Podcast anywhere you get your social media, your podcasts. Just search One Piece Podcast. If it's filled with Zoomers exclusively, you probably got the wrong one. If there's a mixture, maybe you're listening to us. You could, I don't know why I'm putting myself down here at the end. Please subscribe, rate, and review. We also have our phone number open until Skype sunsets in May. That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, or your favorite type of Jinbei teddy bear, which now I kind of want. So, for the first time in a long time, we're going to do some trivia. We used to do this at the end of every show for a very long period of time, I think. But it's been, with the exception of Yaoi Thunderdome, it has been a little while. So I have the game One Piece Vivre Rush, which, yes, is somewhat in Japanese, but I think I could parse what's happening. I'm going to try my best. I want to give you guys the option. Do you want to do teams, or do you want to do like one-on-one?
Everybody versus me.
No, I was going to do like the artists and the academics. I was going to do Steven and Dr. Gomez versus Steve and Kirsten. Do you want to do that?
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'll be on Steve's team. Yeah.
I'll be on
Works out well
Steven's
for
team.
me.
I'm excited.
So, okay.
Academics for the win.
I have an idea. First, just to see who starts first, I am holding Shirahoshi and Leo. Who is older? Steve. Who's older, Shirahoshi or Leo?
Leo.
Correct. Okay. Do you want to go first or last?
What are the ages?
25 and 16. I was just to see who goes first.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first or you want to go last?
I mean, do we answer? Yeah. Well, do we have a chance to answer the question of the opposite team if they get it wrong? Or is it our own unique?
You always do. Yeah.
That's like a steal.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll go second.
Okay. So Steven and Dr. Gomez will go first. Usually we play first 1 to 5 points, but let's see how we're doing here. I don't know. So Vivre Rush basically takes some of the very basic info from the Vivre card, and I think you're supposed to be able to guess who the character is. I don't know exactly how to play, but I'm going to play the way I play. So I'm going to give you 3 facts about the person. You have to just guess who they are, given those 3 facts. Maybe 4 if you need. So Steven, Dr. Gomez, you're first. This character first appeared in volume 53. I have my height calculator out here so I could do this quick. They're 191 centimeters, which is 6'3" or so. 31 years old. Who is this?
53 average human height.
Well,
31.
Steve. It's a little short, if anything.
For One Piece. Okay, so 53 would put it. Oh man,
It's like at the.
that
So
could
right
be.
now- Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think at the is the end of 52 when Kuma sends everyone flying. So it wouldn't necessarily be Sabaudi. That might be Amazon Lily, but then that could be anybody.
Yeah, and all the Amazonas have different heights.
Yeah. Was Boa 31? Was she that old?
To be
These
fair,
are-
I think these ages are probably all post-time skip, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Because these came out, so keep that in mind.
And out of the three Sandersonian sisters, Boa would be the one closest to the average height.
Yeah, the other ones would be much taller. Should we just guess that? Because it could be any one of the Amazons. Let's just say Boa Hancock.
Yeah, I was gonna say Boa.
And the answer is Boa Hancock.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
good guess.
Yeah, good guess. All right, Steve.
I'm just being encouraging.
This character first appeared in volume 15. They are 6'2". They are 141.
What?
6'2" and 141.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I nodded on an audio
Oh,
podcast.
is
Yeah,
this
sure.
Kureha?
Yeah.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, but they're 141 in the time skip.
Yeah, I said we're post-time skip here because
okay.
the answer is Kureha. Good job. Everyone has one on the board. I'm doing these randomly. I'm trying not to make it easier or harder for people. Okay, Stephen and Dr. Gomez. I heard that. Don't worry. The next one Steve gets is going to be harder because I see what the next card is. Anyway, this person appeared first in volume 12. They are 169 centimeters, which is 5'6.5", 5'7". And they are 18 post-time skip. I assume, because I think these are all post-time skip.
Volume 12 is...
Isn't that like Varatier?
No, volume 12 is like that's like Whiskey Peak,
Okay,
Twin
so
Capes, yeah.
is it maybe BV?
Vivi, I think Vivi, yeah.
Is that your final answer?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Vivi is the correct answer.
Oh yes.
And she is asking for
Right.
you to stop the fighting. And on the card.
No, that
Is that what it
that
says,
was
I
the
assume?
no, that's the will you call me your friend again or your crewmate
Oh, you're
again?
right.
Yeah.
I guess she does two very emotional pleas
Yes.
during that arc. Okay,
Two
good job.
flavors of Vivi.
The will you still think of me as your friend and please stop the fighting.
Yes.
Sometimes both. Okay, Steve, Kirsten, here is yours. This character first appears in volume 8. They are 220 centimeters. I should really have these loaded up, which is 7'2.5". They are 38 years old.
What is their height again?
7'3", 7'3" 7'2", 7'3".
Okay. Kirsten, I don't think that many new characters are introduced in Volume 8.
What arc are we in?
This is Baratier.
Okay.
No, but this is also the start of Fishman Island, and there's
Yeah,
a lot of tall boys there. What are some of the other facts about
I'm
them
just going to
again?
come in and correct you that it's definitely not the start of Fishman Island. You meant Arlong.
Sorry, yeah, thank you.
No, I know what you were thinking. I'm not like trying to
Yeah.
help, but
No, yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, I got special edition on the brain.
I know you do. Volume
all right.
8, 7'2.5", and 38 years old. Remember again, these are all post-time skip numbers.
I just have no idea how. It feels like a fishman to me, but I have no idea
Yeah.
how tall they are compared to each other.
Compared to the others, they're.
Like,
I'm trying to think if I could do bad math, because Arlong
Is there any other
in
type?
the for me, well, there's good math. There's doing math the right way. Arlong was 25 in the Fishman Island flashback. I'm trying to think how many years. I'm gonna say I think it's just Arlong.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess. It would be like Arlong or maybe Hachi, but
Or it could be Chu or Kurobi,
yeah.
but
they're
I'm
all
gonna say
around the
Arlong.
same age too. But yeah, I think Arlong's
Yeah.
good.
Final answer?
Yes.
The answer is Hachi.
Ah!
What's he saying here, Steven? I don't know if you can. This is when he's punched.
Takoyaki punch.
There it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I don't remember who he was punching though in that.
Oh, I should have let Steven and Dr. Gomez steal.
I probably would have guessed wrong because I was thinking of like either Kurobi or Chu.
I was gonna say Hachi. I figured he was a little bit older
okay.
than the other ones.
Well, I could give you an advantage at some point in the future.
Yes,
all right.
yes. Owe us a favor.
I owe you a favor. Steven and Dr. Gomez, this character was introduced in Volume 5. They are... okay, I'm not going to give a hint here. They are 6'2.5" and 67 years old. Who is it?
67 years old.
Okay, so since I owe you a half a point, I will give you a half a point worth of an answer. Be wary of one of these facts. They're all true, but it may slip you up.
I mean,
Let's see.
and they said volume 5, right?
Volume 5.
Volume
this
5,
is-
6'2.5",
Is that
67 years
That's
old.
the Syrup Village.
Yeah, that's
Usopp's
Usopp's arc. 67.
Oh, is that?
I mean, was anyone that old introduced?
That's the thing is,
Could it be
Like-
Kuro?
I was gonna say, maybe I don't think Kuro's that old, but maybe Sham, because he said, "Beware of the fact," and I know that Sham was like actually a lot taller than he looked because he had a hunchback. I don't know. He could be old. It could be a trick. It could be like this character doesn't look like they're super old, but they actually turned out to be. But I don't.
Ooh, what about Kaya's butler?
Mary? I didn't think he was old.
Clawdor?
No, not
No,
Mary.
I was a joke. I know I was making a joke about
Honestly,
Clawdor.
that's where my mind went to first.
Yeah,
so.
because it was his butler.
Yeah.
Because there's no other really old characters in that arc.
No, I mean, Now, could it be like does volume 5 cover all of Syrup Village arc, or is it like the ending of one before the one, or the beginning of the one after? Because if it's the
Yeah.
one after, it could be Seth.
Yeah. I was almost wondering too. I was like, we don't get like some weird little cameo glimpse of like Garp in the flashback of like the hypnotism or something like that.
Oh, wait, what about the guy that does the hypnosis?
Django? He's not that old.
He should.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is maybe the beginning introduction of Seth, or
Yeah. That sounds as good as anything to me. So should we just guess?
I
Zeph?
think we can go with Seth. Yeah.
All right. Is
Final
it
answer?
Zeph?
The answer is Zeph.
Oh, good
Okay.
call.
You made
Doctor.
it from the brink. You made it from the brink of death. That was very impressive. I'm like, you are so just on the wrong path here. Okay, Steve, Kirsten. See if we could get this game back. All right. This character introduced in volume 1. They are 6'6" and 39 years old.
A lot of old men introduced in that volume.
39. Is that old?
Yeah, let's watch our words here.
Yeah, I
Well, they're
just
old
turned
now.
38.
That's the
I
thing.
just turned 38.
It could be old. 39.
What an old
And
geezer.
the age.
Could it be
Yeah,
someone on
39.
Shanks's crew or Shanks himself?
Here's the thing: it could be a red hair pirate from chapter 1, or it could be Axehand Morgan, because I don't think Morgan was that old.
He's got a teenaged son, though. He's older than 39, right?
Because what I think Helmeppo, he's like an older teen. I think Helmeppo might even be like 20 and like 19 or something. He's actually not that old. Because there's like Shanks, Ben Beckman. I think, is Beck older than that? Because
Oh, God. How old is Shanks?
Wait, well,
I feel like I should know this.
hold on, because Zach is going by time skip age, so they'd be 39 currently.
Yeah, 37.
So it can't. It could be Shanks.
It could be Shanks.
Could be Shanks. Would they waste paper on making a card for Axehand Morgan? I wonder.
I don't think it's Morgan. I feel like, yeah, like
Shanks?
I feel like Shanks or Beckman would be my two guesses.
Because I'm just going by, it's probably like their age is probably what their age is currently post time skip. And Beckman is much older than 39.
Okay.
I think. So I'd say Shanks. Let's go with Shanks. Final answer, Shanks.
Final answer, Shanks? The answer is Shanks.
Yay!
He's come to end this game, except that we have to keep going. I recognize that panel. Stephen and Dr. Gomez. This character also, Volume 1. I guarantee you this is shuffle. Do not worry. They are 6'9" and 50 years old.
Oof. I mean, the oldest person in Shanks' crew, I think, at that point was Ben Beckham.
Yeah. Was he that tall? That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
And was Higuma that old? I don't know if Higuma was 50.
Does Goldie Roger count?
Was he 50?
I think he wasn't that old by the time he turned himself in.
And yeah, Whoop Slap was not. Whoop Slap is older and not that tall. Man, Roger is a good guess.
Yeah, I was thinking like, who else was introduced in that first volume? And
Yeah,
Roger was one. Yeah.
I don't think Morgan is that old. Although he could be that tall.
What about the mountain bandit that kidnaps Luffy?
Yeah, that's Higuma. That's what I was talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the mayor of that town was super short, so he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost want to say Roger.
Yeah, I think it's either Roger or Van Becken, but I would go more for
Beckman,
Roger.
Yeah. Let's try Roger.
Final answer?
Yes.
Yes.
That is not correct. So,
No.
Steve, Kirsten, chance to steal.
Can we get the stats
Yes,
again?
the stats again. Volume 1, 6'9" and 50 years old.
What was the age again? 50?
50. Post times. These are all post times.
6'9".
Be Morgan.
Could be Morgan. Morgan was a really big guy. Beckman's tall, but I don't think he's 6'9".
And I don't think he's 50.
Lucky Roo is surprisingly tall, though.
But is he 50?
Yeah. You know what? Let's go with our gut. Let's say Morgan.
Final answer?
Yeah.
The answer
Where's the paper?
is Ben Beckman.
Oh,
Really?
Ben Beckman.
Beckman. Yeah, he's old and he's tall.
I wonder why he's gray as a ghost.
Hey, okay, 50 isn't far enough away
A
from
lot of
me, though.
ageism on this latter half of the podcast.
Wow,
Yeah, but
I was surprised. I thought you would totally pick up on their second choice as your first, but
Yeah.
okay.
So what are the current standings, Zach?
Current standings are Stephen and Dr. Gomez have 3, and Steve and Kirsten have 2. But this is Steve and Kirsten's turn, so you have a chance to get back here. This now you could tell that my deck is shuffled because this person was introduced in volume 92. They are also 5'7" and 26 years old.
Steve, what
thing is,
arc are we
though-
in?
This is Wano.
Okay.
And there's a shit ton of characters being introduced in this story at this point. I can't
Here,
look.
since it's Wano, and you are right, I'll give you one additional thing that is on this card. But that's the only other additional thing on this card. They are introduced in chapter 928.
Oh, okay.
In that case,
Yeah.
Well, no, it does
okay.
tell you. I mean, like, I don't know what you remember. Steve, you sometimes have a very good... you're good at
Yeah.
orienting yourself within...
Nah, not with Wano.
you
Wano's
said
too much.
5'7".
He's 5... they're 5'7".
Oh.
No, it's not a he.
That's what Kirsten-
Oh, so it's a woman.
It's a they or a she, okay?
Yamato?
Okay, so you said 5'7", age 29,
Actually, I think
26.
Yamato is 26.
but Yamato is much taller.
Yeah, that's true. Shit.
You gotta think, it's Yamato, Okiku are huge. 29.
That's true. That's true.
It could be... Because I'm trying to
Wait,
think. 'cause
Wait, was it? How old are they? Sorry.
29.
No,
29.
26. Steve
Oh, 26.
29.
26.
And it's 26.
26.
Maybe you got the Yamato on my brain. Could be
Got that Yamato on my brain.
could be page
All the
1.
time. Page 1 or Ulti?
Ulti was not introduced this early.
Oh, okay.
It could be page 1. I'm trying to remember if page 1 is that tall as a human. I don't think so.
Could it be?
Who else?
This isn't.
Really?
I'm just trying to figure out where in Wano we are. Like,
This is still early because 92, right? Volume 92.
Yes.
Volume 90 is mostly the Reverie stuff, so 91 is
okay.
is like this, like kind of like getting into it, and I think that's probably 91 ends with maybe Kaido like coming out as a dragon and maybe blowing up the gravesite, the former castle.
Okay.
So 92, because was Luffy arrested? Yeah, because I think Luffy must have been arrested. Like with the because I'm thinking like the Soba Mask stuff. Did that happen before Luffy got arrested or after? And I'm thinking it happened after. I think page 1 is a fair guess.
Yeah, I think that's a fair guess. I don't
Final
have
answer?
better ideas.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Oh,
have better
unless
ideas.
it's Hiyori. Or the princess.
Oh, not Hiyori. Oh no, Hiyori.
Yeah.
No, Hiyori. Yeah, because I forgot who's the mom. The mom is
Toki.
sorry, it doesn't matter. Toki, yeah. Oh,
Who's
you
still
know
very
what?
much alive.
No. Could be Hiyori.
Could be Hiyori. I also heard
5'7" is not that tall for One Piece dudes.
right.
Hiyori, I think, is a good answer. Go for it.
Final
Hiyori
answer?
for 100.
You pulled that out of a hat because it is
Oh!
Komurasaki
Good
Hiyori.
job.
Good job.
That was a Columbo moment. I was like, oh, we're
It
in the clear.
was.
We're in the clear. They're gonna say
I know. I
Yeah.
was gonna say Hiyori too.
Yeah. Because Steve guessed exactly the right like point in time. It's that early
Yeah.
Act 2 stuff.
That's so much happening.
I'm gonna skip the next one because this character's dead. So I feel like
So they
it's
don't count.
unfair to
Okay.
give the
Yeah.
age, but that one's Pedro, who is very dead.
Aw.
So the next
Allegedly.
one. Allegedly.
He can pull a pal.
Okay, we have 2 more points. It's 3-3. Anyone's game.
Boy.
Steven, Dr. Gomez. This person was first introduced in volume 6. They are. See, now I'm using non-gendered pronouns. I've learned. 6'6" and 43 years old. Again, remember these are all post-time skip ages and post-time skip heights. No, that doesn't really make sense. Yeah.
Okay, so we already established volume 5 was when Zeph started, so this is definitely
Yes.
Baratier.
Mm-hmm.
And man, 6'6".
Would this be Don Krieg?
I think he's too tall for that. Don Krieg's got to be at least 7 feet. I'm thinking like Patty or Carne.
What
So they're
about
probably in their 40s.
What about Mihawk?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I don't think he was introduced in 7. I think volume 6 was when Mihawk shows up.
He could have introduced at the very end of 6, just like when he cut the ship.
Yeah.
Like not even the fight with Zoro yet. He just cuts the ship and shows up in
Yeah.
his little
Yeah,
cross ship.
Let's go with Mihawk.
Okay, yeah, Mihawk. Final answer.
Final answer. So
Mhm.
this one would have helped if I gave you the chapter as well, which was chapter 50, and that is when Dracula Mihawk shows up.
Very nice.
Well done.
Good call, Doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, I shuffled the deck because I was noticing they were starting to get an order after this one. So Steve and Kirsten, just note that I have shuffled. Not that I'm just for transparency. Okay, this character introduced in volume 17. They are 238 centimeters, which is 7'10". They are 32 years old. Volume 17, 7'10", just about, and 32. So 29 pre-time skip.
What? This is Alabasta, yeah? No.
Volume 17, it's either like end of drum or beginning of Alabasta. The height again?
7'10".
What? Age 29
When you first meet them.
when we first meet them. Give me a second.
Well,
I'm
because
doing a
because
mental
it's pre-time skip, so we know it is because
yeah,
it's volume
mental
17.
image in my head here of the volumes. Okay, 11, that's end of Arlong. Beginning of Logtown. 12 is Logtown. And Twin Capes. 13, that's Whiskey Peak. 14, Little Garden. 15 is the end of Little Garden. 16, it's the Chopper and Hero Look cover. 17, that's one with Wapple on it. 29 when you meet them. Who the hell is that tall? My first guess is Bon Clay, because Bon Clay is very tall.
Right, that was going to be my guess too. But if we're we're in,
The age?
or are we in Drum Island or are we in Alabasta?
This could be end of Drum Island.
Okay.
Alabasta. Camp. No, wait. This isn't Bon Clay, because Bon Clay was first introduced. Well, he was shown at between Little Garden and Drum. So and he
Okay.
didn't speak until the end of Drum. So I don't think that counts.
Okay. Wait.
7.
Wait, but isn't this when Bon Clay gets on their ship?
It could be, because maybe they count. I know it's with the Vivre cards, they count when they're first giving like an Oda box with a name.
I feel like in that case this might be Bon Clay.
I think so, because I don't think there's anyone else that tall introduced, because it's not Koza, it's not I don't even think Koza was introduced early. It's not Ace, it's not Blackbeard for sure, because of the age. Let's go with Bon Clay.
Yeah.
Final?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you about the volume, by the way. It is Bon Clay. Good job.
What do you mean you agree about
No,
the
I
volume?
agree with you that I think they were technically introduced earlier than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
like,
have.
but you only see his back. You don't
Yeah.
see his so
You use the right logic that the Vivre card
Yeah.
isn't gonna. Yeah,
It's my memory of going through the Vivre cards when I was like drawing the characters in order for the time being. I remember certain characters. I'm like, oh, they show up earlier, but they're not introduced by name till.
So we're tied
this
at
point.
4. It's getting a little late, so we're gonna do a
Mhm.
tiebreaker round. Rapid fire. I feel like that's the
Okay.
way. So you're each gonna have a minute.
Hard to do with teams.
Yeah, well, you'll have a minute. So to guess who it is, and you could discuss around among yourselves.
We all answering the same question.
So no. So I'm gonna go back and forth, and when someone does not get it, and then another does not get it, or
Gotcha.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, first one. We're gonna go Stephen, the academic team.
Yes.
The academics.
We're ready.
Volume 76. It's the problem is this. 9'7", 26 years old. Flashback character. Because
Yeah, I know exactly. Literally when you said 76, I already knew who this was going to be. Do you know, Doctor?
No, I might need more time, but if you have it, go for it.
This is going to be Rocinante Corazon.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
This is how you do this. This character is introduced in volume 83. They are 10 foot 11 inches and 50 years old. 1 minute on the clock.
Which volume?
83.
I don't think it's Katakuri. It's too early. God, there's a lot of characters around the same age, because it could be Perospero, it could be Cracker. My first thought was Cracker, because this is probably this is still
How
early.
old are they?
50.
But I guess we've learned I don't know how to judge a One Piece 50-year-old, so.
No.
Half your time has elapsed.
Oh, geez.
Not more, actually. So you
God,
should
if
come
the
up with something.
flashback. Oh, because Dressrosa still goes on for a freaking while after that. And there's still Zoe.
Is it Kaido?
I'm gonna-
No, it's not Kaido. Okay.
No.
I need an answer.
What was the height again? One more time.
It's 10 foot 11.
What
I
the
need an
fuck
answer
am I thinking?
now.
I think it's Kaido. We gotta say Kaido.
No, it is my favorite character, Perospero.
Prospero, yeah.
Damn.
I was in the ballpark.
There you go.
I
That's
forgot
the game.
he's that tall. Jeez.
That's the game. We should have done the time limits the whole time. I know now. In the it does add an interesting twist too. I like it. Thank you guys. That was fun. Congratulations, Stephen
Yeah.
and Dr. Gomez. You win bragging rights.
I gotta remember. I you know what? Like those Dressrosa and Whole Cake volumes, those numbers they're a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen, we're the champions now.
Yeah, Zach goes to
Yeah.
Semla. Yeah.
Oh, right. That was the original one. It was Semla.
See?
Well, what's the LBAP version? I need like a hunk of beef.
No, I mean, that's,
It might
that's
just be
from-
Semla again.
Oh, yeah, you're
that's-
right. It might
that's
be
LBAF.
Semla again. That was
Yeah.
LBAP.
A
That's
big
true.
cup of hot soup.
Hot cocoa sovereignty. That's
Hot cocoa sovereignty. Yeah.
Okay, that'll do it for the One Piece podcast. We'll be back next week. There's another chapter, right, Steven?
No,
there isn't.
No, we're off.
I should have asked you this earlier. There's no chapter next week, so maybe an SGS, and I have all those voicemails saved up, so maybe we'll go through some of those. We'll see you next week, everyone. Oh, and the volume, 111. What am I talking about?
The volume.
Okay, we'll see you with the volume next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
you guys are my most exalted homies.